Hey, how's it going, everyone? Just back again with a live stream. Um, just made a few points. I was just watching our friend Donald Trump and Mike Pence, go through their press conference, their briefing. Feels like there's like 10 of them every day. And just made a couple notes while that was going on, that clown show. And going to go through a couple Bible verses. One Bible verse and then go through a couple chapters in Revelation, again, to put this out there in case the Bible is indeed true and is speaking to the times that we live in. And so those are two things to consider: its truthfulness, and then also whether it applies to the times that we live in now. And so takes a certain amount of faith for both of those, but I would say something happening that's very, very peculiar on the world stage is not controversial, really, at this point. Something is going on, that they're not really giving us a sense of, what it really is, and then what their plans are truly, and the end of it or anything like that. So something is going on, and it's happening quickly, and it's alarming how much coordination that there is amongst governments. All their differences just seem to have melted away, which is very, very odd. But for people who see that it's pretty much, people just reading off of a script, then, we'd have to ask ourselves, why? Why would they be doing this and all that kind of stuff? So I want people just first and foremost, just think about, just think about taking a step back even from this coronavirus and all that kind of stuff. Let's just think about whether the Bible is potentially not true. And so I was thinking about this today, and I'm open to, arguments against it, for sure. I don't know of any, and I've looked at things from many different angles. But let's just for a thought experiment, let's say that the Bible is not true. To me, that actually paints a much scarier picture, actually, of the world, because we have this virus out there. We have our government dealing with it in a very, very shady way at best. And then the Bible is not true. And so whether it's, not true about what it's prophesying and the things that it's, said in the past, let's say that all of it's not true or not reliable, then that also is a tremendous amount of evil, that has been working, throughout the world. Throughout human history, and still to this day, and really to some extent through my channel. And so, I try and be balanced and not push it, and say that I know anything for certain, which I absolutely do not, especially in the days that we live in. But, I would have been a part of it for sure throughout my entire life. So that's a very, very scary reality. And, I don't think it's wrong to think about that for people, who have faith in it and lean on it. A lot of reasons to, because there's really no other place to look, in my opinion, for answers, for a narrative, for the goings on, on earth right now. And so that's something to consider. For me, like I said, if the Bible is true, there's either it's speaking to this time, or the things that I'm going to read are in the future, not in our generation. And so I leave that open as a possibility. I'm going to keep obviously lobbying for how I don't think that can be the case. Largely, again, from an economic perspective, I don't know how the things that I'm about to read can happen purely just by the numbers, by money, and the economy, economic reasons, and then all that kind of stuff, and then the spiritual and all those things. Very much the flat Earth and all those things, just add a lot of fuel to this, this fervor that me and I'm assuming a lot of other people worldwide have, that we're close to the end. And so that's I would say the Bible is a very, very good use of anybody's time to spend, especially the book of Revelation and Second Ezra, which I'll read a little bit out of. But I wanted to go through a couple questions that were posed to Donald Trump who's just a complete clown. Like, hopefully everybody knows this now. Just a complete embarrassment, and just a horrible actor. Like, it's one thing. Obama was actually like a fairly good actor, somewhat convincing, but Trump is just mocking people right to their face. And so one of these like structured Q&A, because no average American can go in there and ask questions. Obviously, we'd ask a lot of questions, especially about the shape of our Earth. But one reporter gets up and is like, "What do I tell my kids, who are home, and are bored and all that kind of stuff?" So this, first of all, is a reflection of the way the world is, that a parent is going to the government. To me, this was absolutely perfect interaction of the way we are, all of us, conditioned to be as Americans. A parent is asking the president, who's just a complete clown, just absolutely moronic and evil, about how they should occupy their kids' time. And so this is what the world has become. And it's not either of those two people's fault. This is a very, very structured and well architected system. But I just thought that was perfect, that a reporter would be that stupid to ask that, and especially to ask somebody like Donald Trump. And then Trump is like, he's like, yeah, well, some kids are probably happy about it, and he's just basically mocking him right to his face that they're not in school. And then his take-home message was basically like, just tell them to be proud to be an American, and just wait it out. And then he starts rambling on about how young people have stronger immune systems and all that kind of stuff. Like, it was the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. And then thankfully they left the chat on for this press conference. And so I was reading other people's, and it's ridiculous, and I'll read a verse from 2nd Ezra that shows again that, these are the times that we live in, where we're just laughing at our leadership. Like, they're just a bunch of idiots. And then he starts talking about a vaccine, which, he's like, we need it now and all this kind of stuff. And then he makes a statement of like, yeah, well, if it doesn't work, well, at least we tried. We got to just get this out there. And then, all that kind of stuff. People are dying and all this. And then Flat Earth Boxer just posted a video where he went to like some hospitals and they haven't seen anybody, related to this coronavirus and all that. So it's just a complete hoax. It's just media fakery, hoopla and all that kind of stuff. And so they're just creating all this panic. They just want to jam a needle, a vaccine. Next, I believe will be the mark of the beast and all that. So like, that's their ambition, is to really get inside all of our minds and then ultimately inside people's body. And this is their objective. This is the way God has designed them. And they find it funny. They're just laughing at people. And so I think for us, like for people who come by here, like we know what's going on truly. And, we want no part of that. And the flat earth people, we see everything through the lens of flat earth, that this whole thing is just a horrible movie. And it looks like it's getting worse. But the cool thing I would say for me personally is that it's getting so bad that soon, it's becoming very, very practical that the earth will not be livable for me, just from a financial perspective, from a vaccine, from a food shortage, from the economy, the unemployment and all that. It's great, and this is insane that I got a notice from my unemployment, the state of Texas. And I was like, oh no, I never want to hear from them, because then they'll ask me for information and all that kind of stuff. I need to prove to them that I'm continuously looking for work. So I'm like, oh my God, they're asking me again. But this was actually hilarious. Normally I have to do 3 job searches a week. And so I've basically foolproof myself from getting a job in corporate America I put on my resume about flat earth, and then I believe that we're in the end time. So I send my resume out and no one I'm sure will ever respond to it. So I'm kind of trolling God a little bit, but I'm just being upfront, like I'm not going to go in any kind of corporate setting and pretend, that the earth is a ball and just, that the government cares about us and all that kind of stuff. But I thought it was funny that this notice actually said, and I had copied and pasted it just because I couldn't even believe it. They were like, you don't have to do any searches. There's no minimum anymore. And so I was just like, oh my God, like that is, that's them giving up really on their own economy. And I just thought that was so perfect. I actually copied it and saved it in case, somebody challenges me on not submitting any work things, which is perfect for me because like I feel guilty even applying because like I don't even want to apply because I don't care, and but I'm required to. And then now, thankfully, you know, God has relieved me of that burden, and so I don't even have to apply to any. The minimum 0 now, and so like that's fantastic. And you know, I don't know what that means, you know, and so there's been a lot of news in the last couple of days about the exorbitant printing, a few $1 trillion, stimulus, bailouts, all that kind of stuff. They claim that it's going to come to the average person, us, and all that. But the reality, I hope people understand this at this point, that money that's distributed that is not earned, it erodes and degrades money that's already been earned, whether by us or by other people. And so that's a fundamental problem. And then obviously, if they're just handing out money, this is a very, very you know, dire situation. And the reality, I hope people understand this, is that there's been so much money already printed that really no matter what they print now, it pales in comparison to what's been printed for the last, you know, 10 or 15, 20 years. And so we're just getting like the crumbs, like they're literally just like flicking little crumbs at us and again, mocking us, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And so, you know, for those who get it, especially if you're a flat earther, this is not new information, but this bailout, you know, if you do it per person in the US or something, it might work out to be like $5,000 or something like that. Let's just say even best case is 10,000. Even let's just say it's even that much per person in a household. That won't really last people that much, you know? And so that's not really going to be able to weather a storm if a person is like completely unemployed, you know, and really sees no way out of it. And then when the longer this thing drags out, the less likely they are to get a job, you know, when this thing is quote over, and they're giving us no indication that it's ever going to be over anytime soon and all that kind of stuff. So it doesn't look good, you know, at all. It's one of those things where if that money is given out, people are not going to be like, oh, wow, great. You know, I got this $5,000. I'm just going to go and spend it as quickly as possible to quote, stimulate the economy. People will know once any government is sending money to their bank account, that's a bad situation, you know, and that's not going to give them more confidence or any confidence to spend anything. You know, this is just common sense. This is just human behavior. And so this is obvious, you know, that this is the end game for America. You know, it's there's no, you know, shooting back up. If we would have, quote, shot back up, it would have happened already. There's way too much money being printed. It's already been printed. It's too late. That's the issue. And there's nothing we can do at this point anyway, because that money is already in people's bank accounts. And so it's just the way it is. You know, for those of us who don't have that much, we just lost, you know, and the government could give us $5,000, which would last, you know, me like a month or two at most. And then what do we do after that? They can't print and give us another 5,000 and all that kind of stuff, because if they did that for everybody now, then the dollar would absolutely get destroyed, you know, quickly within 3 or 4 months, if it's not already. And so this is not a solution, you know, and just the fact that they're taking one step towards this and literally doing this now, it signed unanimous, you know, all that kind of stuff. It's happening, you know, and so this is crazy that just the fact that they're moving in this direction shows that they don't value anything about the US dollar, and they don't value anything about the people receiving it. And so this is the times that we live in. Ali B, what's up, man? Good to see you. And Flat Earth Boxer, guys, I put the link down below if anybody wants to join. Feel free. I'm going to be reading some stuff from the Bible in a little bit, but you know, it's just an open panel, you know, obviously not, you know, trolls and stuff, people who are human, but, you know, you guys are welcome if you want to chat. But so that, to me, I'm more and more comforted by that money printing thing that they've given up to, you know, like the government, the central banks, they're throwing in the towel. The markets are getting absolutely pounded. I live in Houston, which is getting absolutely crippled by this, you know, price of crude oil. It's bad. You know, it's just people have been pumping, and they don't even know where the stuff's going to go anymore. It's just and I don't know if they're faking this. They could be, obviously. They could have plenty of storage and they could be scaring us, but they're saying that there's not even capacity to store, this oil. And so that's scary. And so 20 is already brutal, very, very bad. And so if people think that it's going to get to 10 and potentially lower, that's really, really bad. I don't know what that would look like visually for a city like Houston, who depends on that industry 1 billion %, 1,000%. Everybody is involved in some way, really, even the banks that are here in, exploration and production, of hydrocarbons. So that's happening in real time, and people are getting laid off every day, and so once capital expenditures, if you read in the news, Chevron, Schlumberger, all these big companies, oil companies, service companies, they're cutting their what's called CapEx, capital expenditure budget. And people are like, yeah, okay, that's normal. They'll cut CapEx. But once they cut their CapEx, that affects other companies, that would normally get that money to produce things. And so they'll have to then right-size their business. And then the trickle-down effect is happening everywhere, and so this is the reality of life in Houston with $20 WTI crude. And it looks like the direction that it's going is even lower. And I saw an article that it could even go negative for a while. And I thought that was crazy. I was just like, I don't even know how to even think about that. Like, how could a commodity go to a negative dollar amount where they're literally, you just show up with like a bunch of tanks, and then they'll pay you to take it, and that kind, obviously not us individuals. I'm talking like big people who can store these things or use it or take it away. That will create a business of people who are just getting stuff. They're being paid to take things away, this surplus of crude oil. And so that's people are this is mainstream articles that are talking about that. So I don't know if that's just them signaling, to their industry to prepare for something lower, or it could literally go negative, at some point. And we are in a negative interest rate environment, different parts of the world, and US is not far from that. So all this pumping, whether it's pumping money or pumping oil, it's just gone out of control. Some mad people have been pushing the button, so much, just pump more money into the system. And that vibration is who are controlling our world, and so once a person does that and decides that's a viable business, then, they get funded, and then corporations get set up, and then now many of them are failing. And so, that's the world that we live in right now. So yeah, that's something to think about. One thing, if you guys can go on mute just for 1 second, sorry. Although you guys can jump in if you have thoughts on any of these, but I want to actually reference Flat Earth Boxer's channel, which was video, which was great. I'm tempted to do this myself to some of the hospitals because Houston has the largest medical facility in the world. I'll do this actually next week. I'll go to the medical center and, just maybe put my camera in my pocket and just ask around and stuff. But I'm glad he posted that because I don't see it. I don't know anybody who knows anybody personally who has this freaking thing. So it looks very much like it's in the very least they're exaggerating it, but potentially the whole thing is just a hoax. And the reality is, for anybody, especially if you're a flat earther, we know that the government doesn't care about our health. That should be very, very obvious. That all of a sudden they care now, like they have all the medical facilities, get the masks out, respirators and all that. They care now. All of a sudden that narrative doesn't make sense. So people are not allowed to believe that the government cares about us at all. I'm sorry, you don't have to be a flat earther, but that's not allowed for anybody who I want anywhere near me. So I would recommend people to practice spiritual distancing, get away from these people. And I'm talking about even these flat earth people, Phuket Word, Jeranism, all these morons who are getting on saying everything's fine, don't worry, it's nothing to fear but fear itself, red pill and all these people. I'm preparing a roast for for them. I didn't have time to finish it, but I'll do it next week. But we can ignore these people now. We know that they're just part of this government system. There is a reason to panic, because if this thing is real, our government definitely is not going to be able to help us because they're idiots. The foundational system is completely evil. And if it's fake, then they're definitely coming for us in some way. And so that's horrible. And that's what's going on right now. And so, that's what we got, right in front of us. So I'll open up the panel. If you guys have anything to share, then I'll go into some Bible verses a bit later. But one I wanted to read quickly for people to consider in the days that we live in now. And I see this happening just by reading the chat when Trump is giving his State of the Union kind of thing. 2 Ezra 15, 16, for there shall be sedition amongst men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. There's going to be a time where the Bible is saying that people are not going to regard one another, and they're not going to regard their leadership. And that's happening. So the leadership part's happening. The next step, if the Bible is true, is that people are going to start attacking one another. And I see that, it's just obvious. There's people who majority of people have absolutely no faith in this world. And they are going to scratch and claw because we've all been conditioned to just fight, do whatever we need to do to get ahead. I'm not talking about people who come by here, spiritual people, but us as Americans. I can speak for that because I've gone through this system. And so that's what the Bible says. And I see that literally right before my eyes. But gentlemen, welcome. Anybody have thoughts on all this nonsense going on in the world?
Mike, check.
Ali B.
How you doing?
Mike coming through good, man. What's up, buddy?
Oh, great. Oh, hang on.
Good.
Can you still hear me?
Yes, I can. Yeah, I can. Ali, what's up, man?
Can you still hear me, yeah?
Yeah.
I can't hear you now for somebody. Oh, hang on.
Can you?
1 sec.
Ali will learn how to use his computer soon.
That's it now. There we go.
Mark Doxy, what's up, man?
Hello, my good man. How are you?
I'm good.
I'm going to quote. Hi, Ali. You're looking well tonight. I'm going to quote.
Yeah, I've put on a bit of weight, right?
Oh, I noticed.
Ali, do you guys have this like lockdown where you're at, or are you free to move around and stuff?
Yeah, we're on lockdown, but it's a bit casual.
Okay. Yeah. It's kind of the same as us, I would say. We're allowed to go out, but every place you go needs to have some policy for social distancing. So it's crazy, dude. Like, this is ridiculous, but the golf course that I play at, flip the golf holes over so there's only like a couple inches where the ball can sit, so you don't have to reach your hand all the way down to the bottom of the hole. And some other golf courses have lifted the hole up, and so once you hit the hole, the side of the plastic, that counts as you've hit the shot.
Oh my God. It sounds like winter greens.
Yeah, dude.
Oh my goodness.
That's their really? Policy. So I'm like, we're finished, man. This is ridiculous.
Well, here's a great little story. I had to go through customs and cross the border. I'll talk about what's happening around Europe, or the people that I've been talking to.
Yeah.
But I was up on the top floor, and there was a guy walking down the stairs just before me. Mm-hmm. And there was a guy in front of him. And the guy that was in front of me got a bit close to this guy, and he honestly, inside a customs building, turned round and basically told him to get to his distance.
Whoa.
Like, shouted, screamed at the top. I'm not joking. Screamed at the top of his voice, I thought. And I met the guy. I met the guy in front of me later on. We got in the lift together, and we're laughing away. And look, it's pretty stupid, right? Because, you're not allowed to go on holiday anywhere in Europe. They won't let you in at all.
Yeah.
Right. But they're letting truck drivers in. So we must have something in our immune system that that doesn't spread it at all. But there's people bumping elbows, and it's getting a bit hysterical. But that's the way they planned it. They're just that's the way it's planned. And what I feel that they're actually doing as well. Well, there was an example. That guy shouting at that other guy, right? You're going to see a lot more of that.
Yes, for sure.
I mean, that is, that guy, the way he screamed at him, it was like, it really sort of, it surprised me. Yeah, well, it did surprise me, but it didn't.
Did he yell the distance? Did he yell the distance, or he just said keep a certain distance? Did he say like 6 feet away or 10 feet away?
He basically says, get your fucking distance.
I wish you recorded
seriously,
that.
and I was like that. That's when it kind of hit home. But that's when it kind of hit home of the mentality. Of the uninitiated or the unknowledgeable or the followers of the governments. Their reality is different from ours.
Yes,
and that kind of hit it home to me.
Yeah,
and I thought, but most people, I always, as I say, I met a few when I was in Switzerland. I met a few guys there who were talking about it, and they were saying it was ridiculous as well. But in Switzerland, 56-year-old, and you're advised to stay in your house. 56.
Ali, I got a story like that too. So I'm golfing with this guy, and I usually give, and it's not an insult to Americans, but I usually give people from other countries a little bit more respect because usually they're not as kind of dumbed down as us. Again, that's not a shot to America, every individual, but we're, I would say, some of the dumbest people. But this guy, I was golfing with him, and he's like, you know what, man, I can't stand these kids. They're on spring break, and they just want to go and, just have fun and don't care about that. And they don't care about me or anybody else. And they're getting a lot of flack, these spring breakers, these kids, because they just want to go and have fun.
Yeah.
And don't care. And then I'm like, I wanted to say something, but I can't really say anything to this guy because he said it in such a vigorous way. The rest of the round's going to be awkward. He's going to be like,
exactly.
He's like, who's this kid? And he's older than me, so I don't want to like do that. So I just kind of played along. I'm like, yeah, whatever. But
do you know what you can do, Chirac? Right?
Yeah.
If you study a bit, if Ranty, he's kind of been doing a bit of, investigation or whatever. But he's been looking into like where it came from.
Yeah.
What's inside the virus, the markers inside the virus, and kind of stuff like that.
Jeez.
You can start a conversation like that. You say, it started with a blooming Chinese and get them into that. Instead of saying it's a hoax,
right?
Tell them, give them a bit of information about, that you can back up.
That's smart, dude. I like that,
about it. And that's a great way to come out. Act as angry as, they're a bit, and then change the subject onto the actual virus itself and start talking about that.
You probably get this, right? As a golfer, like we don't go to the golf course to talk about, the world. And like I do that. And obviously my channel is very, very doomsday, but I don't go to the golf course to talk like and argue, but I definitely, I like your suggestion. I like anything academic, but I just find people are just really strange here. It's like we're on a golf course, to just relax and not argue about young kids and the virus and all that, and just people are just so like stubborn, I would say, about their opinion.
But Chirac, sorry to interrupt. I'll just give you another wee.
People who are stubborn and will say exactly what they think instead of these. I find that I'll be talking to somebody and I'll explain that they'll be talking about the virus, so they'll say whatever, and I'll express my opinion. And if I articulate it well enough, they'll be like, oh yeah, man, totally, for sure. They'll like agree that it just seems, it does. They'll even get to the point where it does seem kind of fake. Yeah. And then I'll check their like social media like a day later, and then they'll be saying something that totally assumes the reality of the virus, and then exhorting people to maintain social distancing to wait for it to pass. And that I find rather bizarre. I never thought that's not common with Americans that I. But
FEB. Dude, they might need to do that to save face, with their job, with their social circles and all that, but they know deep down that this thing is stupid, right? Do you think?
Yeah, it's like a peer
I
pressure
think it's
kind of thing.
possible, but at this point, as far as what people believe deep down, I'm starting to have serious doubts about that because like, I don't think if you're saying with people, it's hard for me to believe that people are really that complex anymore because I've been dealing with people telling people the truth, seeing like as loud as I am that no one's chopped my head off, no one's killed me. They see that it's okay. They know that you will be okay if you just tell the truth.
Yeah. Your video made my day, man. I'm glad you posted that. That's fantastic.
All right, man. Shalom. I think what it is that people just repeat whatever is what it's easy for them to say.
Yeah, in that moment.
Who's next to them.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy thinks it's fake. I'm going to say that's fake.
Well, I was spineless for 30 seconds to that Finnish guy because I'm not going to argue. I'm like, yeah, I played dumb or whatever. But, oh, man, I'm like,
yeah, true.
I don't like when Europeans do that because they should know what's going on, man. Like,
Chirac, I have to interrupt you there, mate.
I see your point.
You've got to understand that everybody.
So it's not
wait a
quite
minute,
accurate
whoa,
for you to
can I
assume
speak?
that everyone's just.
Is he hearing me or what?
Wait,
have deep
Flatter
convictions.
FEB, can you hear the other people or can you just hear me?
I could just hear you.
Okay.
Ali, his mic isn't muted. Mark Duxie's mic is muted.
I'm gonna kick you and then just join again if you don't mind. Then I'll think you'll hear Ali. Sorry, just join in again. Sorry, Ali. Go ahead, buddy.
Right. Well, that's what I was going to say. What you have to remember is you're saying, you can't believe how dumb people are. You've got to remember that everybody has been under the same indoctrination, the same education system, the same brainwashing.
Yeah.
So all you have to do, so that type of personality. So it's like, I'm sure it's in the Bible, it says, know thine enemy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean they're the enemy. I mean, know the person that you're communicating with.
Right.
And you already understand them because you already know the reaction you're going to get if you approach in a certain manner. So you just have to, like what I said, just change your tactics instead of, talking about the conspiracy. Just say, oh, I heard the other day, or you know what I mean? Like, tactfully bring, and you'll be very, very surprised how responsive people are to that. I've tried that myself because remember, I've been in conspiracies for about 8 years, and I was just full on, and people would get triggered.
You've been through those awkward conversations, I'm sure, right? Many, many times.
Oh, so many, and it's turned the room kind of dark, or the atmosphere kind of dark.
Yeah, that's
so. But you learn.
Ali, what's your Socratic opening question then?
I don't use that the Socratic method because I feel as if it's like cheating in a kind of way because you're trying to lead someone on to your opinion kind of thing rather than saying making a statement about saying, oh yeah, I heard that it came from, it's got markers of this or whatever you're talking about. Mm-hmm. Say something that's really nothing to do with like the full on kind of thing. There's no. Yeah. I hate that Socratic method because the thing is, when
Ali, you and I meet as total strangers in the supermarket, and I say to you, can you please keep your distance? Would you respond to that with anything?
My response would be, oh yeah, yep, sorry mate, yeah, it's really, and stand my distance, but start communicating with the guy, and don't get upset, and start talking about it, discussing. Oh, by the way, did you know this or that? But not in a conspiratorial. You could even say, British scientists have found out that it came from Wuhan, and it seems to have been made in a laboratory. Yeah, that's amazing. I wonder how many other viruses have been made, and then there you go. You've got in a conversation with a guy.
Yeah, that's the bit. That's the bit I want to. It's the step that you want to take to get an open discussion. We have got our opinions about it, but the majority of people are following the mainline narrative, and we know that's bullshit.
Right, there's a great thing in the like neuro-linguistic programming, right? Or to lead. I suppose it's a bit Socratic as well. But now I forgot my point. And
I just sledgehammer it. When I go into public places and there's lots of people, or even if it's a small amount of people, if it's a lot of people, I'll ask in a loud enough fashion in order to be heard by people around me. Just a person, hey, do you know anyone with coronavirus? Then inevitably they'll say no. And
Yeah,
I
then,
don't know anybody yet.
Yeah.
and I love doing it in supermarkets too. Then I'll turn and just yell in the direction of the most people I can find and ask, hey, do any of you guys know anyone with coronavirus?
Exactly.
And they all go,
That's it.
and they
Yeah.
all go no.
Yeah.
And then I'll turn the other direction. I'll ask the same question, and everyone's like, no. And it's really sad because some people have this moment of like shared humanity of like,
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Some people will do this thing where they kind of just like look down and be like, I don't want to deal with this, because it's like, hey, don't let the Stasi see me denying this. There's like their big brother without even they're oppressed by big brother without even big brother being there. It's all in their head.
And FEB, dude, I've asked somebody and I'm like, so what are the symptoms? Because I kind of just, played along. They're like, yeah, it's the flu and other things. And I'm like, I don't even have the energy anymore. I don't even care, because that just sounds like such an insensitive answer. If somebody really knows somebody and is going through something, they'll explain exactly what happened. Like, oh man, they were running and all of a sudden they felt this in their chest, and then, they went all that. It's like, it's crazy, dude. It's so many vague.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. There's just so many vague stories. But Ali, can you do a quick mic check, FEB? Can you hear the other people?
Not anymore.
Yeah, I can hear them. Yeah.
Sorry. I hear.
Okay, you can hear Ali now.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right, Ali, you want to say something on NLP?
Oh yeah, that was it. Yeah, a little trick you can do. It's a little bit NLP, but as you can say, I read in the newspapers, or I saw on the news this scientist, and he was talking about and what you're doing, it's like an appeal to authority, right?
Yeah.
But these people are already primed to respect authority.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? So when you say scientist, my friend's a biochemist and he told me this and that. You understand? It's
That's
just
a good
matter.
idea. Yeah.
And it's using a link, because people respond to that. Scientists, 100 scientists say this. You know what I mean? That kind of thing,
Ali, I should have just busted out the flat earth and told him, is the ground moving or is the sun moving? And then that would have completely ruined his life. But
so actually that method worked with a British friend of mine, actually. He was getting quite irate with me as a dude I trained with in Thailand, and he's back in Thailand now, and he's dealing with all the stuff with the lockdown over there.
Yeah.
And I would tell him that, he got hip to to a lot of things being fake, like certain types of electrical energy coming from other methods than they say, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So he was hip to a lot of this stuff, but he couldn't quite get to flat earth, and I couldn't quite get him the gospel. And then he hit me up, and because he was angry that I was denying the coronavirus. And I said, listen, bro, he was pissed. And I was like, listen, dude, if I try to explain this to you, why you don't understand why I think the earth isn't spinning, you're just going to misunderstand where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
Because I don't think, because the thing that convinces you doesn't convince me. And if you don't understand why I don't think the earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, everything's just going to be nonsense to you. So I beseeched him, could you just see not to accept that the earth isn't spinning, but can you understand coherently why that works within my framework that the earth isn't spinning? I walk outside, the sky is spinning, I'm not. You get why? Okay, we're all clear. And then as soon as he understood why I thought the earth wasn't spinning, then he said, okay, I'm gonna call this person. I'm gonna call my nearest my closest medical professional friend, and see what's going on. Then he sent her a text, and she said, asking if she'd seen anyone with coronavirus, because she's a nurse. Right?
Wait, FEB, just a quick question. Is that the text you put in your video?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Keep going. Thank you. Yep.
It's in the video. She's a head nurse at this Warwick whatever hospital.
Yeah.
It's a big hospital out there.
Yeah.
And she said no coronavirus at all. And in fact, it's not even packed.
Oh my God, dude. How did they condition us to be this gullible? Like, come on, that's brilliant. In and of itself, I'm not saying it's good. I'm not lobbying for the government, but that's freaking brilliant, dude.
It's impressive.
Come on. Oh my God, dude.
All the pornos.
Shout out to coronavirus, wherever you are.
Yeah.
Come on, dude.
Hey, watch it. You'll get demonetized, Chirac. You'll get demonetized, Chirac.
Ali,
So watch now.
Ali, you and I are only in this for the money, man. So I'm screwed, man. No.
Yeah, that's it.
There goes my house.
Well, there you are.
Ali, I'll let Mark if he wants to speak, but good to see you, man. I would say, whatever happens with all this, man, our convos were great, man. Like the few people, you, Mies, and others that were in the flat earth for the intellectual game, curiosity, there's not many of us, and those were some good hangouts we had roasting those people. But yeah, man, I just want to say that.
What was that to me? Was it?
Yeah.
Mark? Oh,
I mean,
right back at you. Right back at you as well. I've enjoyed it. Actually, I've been missing you, actually listening to you when you go into these debates. And I actually heard you the other day. You were, it was an old one. It was an old Nathan Oakley's, actually, I think. No, it wasn't. It was, who was it? You were on the, it was Sean G's, actually, I think it was.
Oh, man.
And you were on the panel, and it was golden, man. I was I wanted to copy. I think, actually, I wrote the timestamp on it. Actually, I did. It was on Jose's, by the way.
Yeah.
And I've actually wrote down the timestamp, and I was going to send you. Hey, listen, mate, you wanted to listen to yourself. It was awesome. And it was like...
Do you do those anymore, Ali, or are you retired from that, mostly?
I'm not going back there again.
Oh, okay. Just wondering.
No, I won't be back there again. I can't. The thing is I've went through the 3 stages, right? I went through the first stage. I was angry and I wanted to debate everybody like that. The second stage, after a couple of years, just about a year ago, was, all right, I'm just going to take the mickey. So I was going in and I was asking them questions, and I clearly know more than any one of the persons on that panel that I've ever met about space, gravity, the whole. Barney. Yes. Barney's a repeater, but I could rip every single one of them. That's not being big-headed or anything, because I have genuinely been interested in science and space, even though I don't have a degree or nothing. Yeah. I know the mainstream story better than they do. They don't they don't even know what they're actually meant to believe.
Yeah. I would say, Ali, it's not even just the foundation, which us normal people are humble that what we know is little relative to, the entire world, but our derivative, our direction, our desire to know more, it's way more than these people. Like, we can't even give like the flat earth and all that any credit. They don't want to learn more. They don't want to share anything, and they don't want to advance knowledge. And that's very, very obvious. And it's just tiring, honestly, being around stupid people. And I'm not saying this to be rude, because I still consider myself dumb. I don't know exactly what's happening in the world, but very, very stupid people who are mean, that doesn't work. Yes. I think all of us are just cutting them out, not just in flat earth, ball earth debates, but even in our life. You don't have to be a genius, but you can't be mean, like us. So
it's a moral issue at the end of the day.
Yeah.
At this point,
exactly.
My approach with these people, because it says in one of the Thessalonians, somewhere it says in Isaiah 66 that God will send them strong delusion. He'll choose their delusions and bring their fears upon them. So it's like you said, it's God doing all this. They're just, in a sense. So it's like, it's, if these people haven't accepted the reality of these things, it's not just because they haven't gotten the right information. I'm not telling these people for the sake anymore of getting them to wake up. I'm telling them these things in order to give them these opportunities that when they're before the judgment seat of the Most High, that they don't have any excuses. Because if they haven't found out, it's not because no one told them. It's because they didn't want to know.
There's a lot of people that are so self-absorbed in their own self-righteousness. I would include like Craig from Fight the Flat Earth, and also Sleeping Warrior, that they're so concerned with their own opinion and I'm right that they miss the whole point of the whole thing, and there's no humility.
Yeah. Sleeping Warrior at least publicly will say, he made a mistake. He said the wrong full cult, and I give him credit for that. But I have never seen one single baller ever come with any kind of, I made a mistake on this statement. And we could make reels of highlights of things that they've said that are just patently false.
Chirag, there was a time there a couple of weeks ago or someone, or maybe a month ago, some of them were coming out and admitting they were wrong, but making a point is saying, see, I always admit when I'm wrong. And that was, it was like a change of tactics. I was laughing my ass off, man, if I can use that word. It was so funny. It's like a show to me now. Yeah, but I just want to make a quick point about this fight with flat earth and these people. Just think about this. In reality, what they are doing, and they will get their comeuppance, right? They are making money out of taking the piss out of people and insulting people. Now, if the universe or God or karma or whatever you want to call it, it's a real thing, whatever it is. You get retribution. Nature does. I've experienced it so much throughout my life to know it's a fact. I've worked with it. I've used it, kind of thing, or whatever. Not to, because you can only use it not to gain anything for yourself, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. If you know what I mean, it's like it's a weird kind of thing what goes on. This reality that I live anyway. But these guys are just making the same as Jose, and that's what I came to my conclusion just a couple of weeks ago. I was like, wow, it was like a epiphany about Jose, because I actually used to, I've given super chats and stuff like that, and then just I don't know, it just that realization. I'm thinking, geez, man, you're just the same as the rest of them, making money. I was like, God, that guy's there making money off of insulting people, even though he keeps out of it.
Yeah.
And sometimes
he doesn't know, does he?
He gives a bit of bread. He gives a bit of bread to the flat earthers. Gives a wee bit of bread.
Yeah.
He pokes and then takes it back. Once he gauges the reaction of the ballers, he knows what he's doing. Actually,
no, he does.
I mean, I find that disgusting. But I find fight the flat earth even more disgusting. At least I could sit and have a pint with a beer or a smoke with Jose, and I know I could because he's probably quite approachable kind of dude, but he's maybe a bit lost. He maybe needs to find God, or himself.
But Ali, you and I know the psychology, right? We know people like that are just insecure about something else in their life, in their past, their future, and all that. And we can all do that even with religious texts in front of us. So I think that's what I'm also realizing about the vibration in the science world and also in the religious world. And people who are not self-aware, that can't admit that, making fun of somebody or not explaining concepts clearly and all that is a function of their own diseased mind. Those are people that, we need to avoid. And the reality is we're not going to learn. You and I and people like Flat Earth Boxer, Doxy, other like people that are normal, independent people not coming with an agenda. You can learn more in a 30-minute conversation with a normal person than 6 hours, 7 hours of hangouts with those dummies.
I think none of us should interact with them because they only want to mock. And as soon as we stop interacting with them, they're going to lose their monetary reward.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
And Ali's the same as well. I boycotted Jose. I like Jose on a personal level, but I've boycotted his show because they're only there to mock. And when you go into that, you've got like eight onto one.
Yeah.
And it's just exhausting.
Mark, check this out. This is the way I see it. When people go on like Oakley's panel, you either have a choice. You go on Oakley's panel or Jose's panel or some other panel, and you either assimilate and become like them and tote their language, or you go against them, which I believe Jose did for financial reasons, or you get frustrated like people like us, normal people, and we're like, dude, these guys aren't letting us say anything. And so like you go away into your own corner and remain independent and take the good from it. And I just feel like he made a really, really bad decision. He literally went left, when he could have.
I actually think Jose, I have to disagree. I actually think he did genuinely go back to the ball.
You think he did?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep. I don't think. I think the monetary thing came after when he started realizing it, kind of thing. But I actually I do believe he. But the thing that gets me about, I don't really want to make it about Jose anyway. So, but I have to agree now. Mark approached me with that idea about boycotting Jose's maybe a month ago, Mark, or 5.
About that.
6 weeks ago. And I said, but I like going on and blah, blah, this and that. But now, as I say, if you let people find their own way kind of thing, I totally agree with you now. I'm with you 100%, but I don't want to tell anybody to do that.
Yeah,
if you know what I mean.
I hope that SE Montreal leaves them quickly.
Yeah, he's got to stop doing that, man.
And Lemon Bird as well. Please stop supporting the show, and then it'll collapse. They need us to go on the show.
I actually like SE Montreal on it.
Yeah,
I do.
I think he can handle it. I think, and likes of you as well, Mark. You can handle it. You know, you don't get like heated up like myself or maybe Chirac, and I've got a mate, Chris F.E. Jackson. But you guys are like special. Like I'll put you in a category of really cool guys. Wait a minute, let me finish. Really cool guys that can, and I actually admire, and I've told Chris, and I tell you, I actually admire the way that you actually can actually hold yourself back, and maybe not even hold yourself back. It's probably natural. You know what I mean? It's like it's probably just a natural thing. I admire that about.
To be honest, Ali, it takes me a day to get over it. It really does.
It used to be like that for me.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice of you to say what you said, but it does take a 24 hours to get over the stress of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't get stressed when I go on the panels. I actually love going there just to take the rip out of them. Yeah. Because I know I'm dealing with people that they make the mistake, right? They've got this. They make the mistake. It's another saying, you know, never. What do you call it? About never underestimate your enemy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because we're enemies to them. They're not my enemies. They never have been my enemies. But they look at us as their enemies, right?
Yeah, I agree.
So, and they start off in the worst kind of footing, underestimate. They all think we're dummies.
Yeah.
And when I go into debates, I know I'm not a dummy. I know they're the dummy because they've got that attitude. You can't lose there. I love it.
Yeah.
But as I say, I've got it's now got the point is, it's, you know, they're just taking money to take the piss out of us.
Yeah.
And
come the revolution, Ali, who's the first against the wall?
Oh no, actually, I don't care, I will not. See, this is the thing. They also do a bit of projecting as well.
Oh, I have,
and I've been told this myself. Oh, if the Earth was to come out flat, you lot would just be running up to us and going, "Yeah, we told you so." You wouldn't hear a peep out me again, man.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was a ball or a flat, I would say, right, okay, guys, it's a ball then, fair enough. See you later. I was wrong. Bye.
But Ali,
see if it was a flat, see if it was, as I say, you know, because as I say, I've accepted, I can't know 100% for a fact. So I'll say, if it is flat, right, I won't be running. That's childish, man. I'm a grown man. You don't run up to people and go, yeah, told you so. I'm a fucking grown, I'm a grown man.
Come
and
on.
we're what do you call it? The thing out, the protocols of Zion, right? One of the protocols was keep the mental age of the population at grade 7 or at 14-year-old, man. Now, if you go and listen to these guys talk, they're all into Star Wars. No offense to Star Wars and Trekkies and stuff like that, but they're all into Star Wars and, oh, did you read that magazine and all that kind of stuff, right? That's childish, man.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
To me, it is. You know, for especially when you're going to speak as if it's a real thing and talk about these people's personality. Who do you think would win, Batman or Spider-Man? Holy cow! You know what I mean? So I see, as I say, people should read the Protocols of Zion. They call it a hoax, but it doesn't matter. It was written 100 and odd years ago.
Yeah. And
it's so relevant today. You could go, oh, the mental age of guys are turning into, I don't know. But anyway.
There's a guy called Dean who calls himself Stingray.
Yeah, we know him. Yeah.
Yeah, we know him.
I mean, the fact that he calls himself Stingray shows that he's still in a fantasy of a 6-year-old.
Agreed. 100%. All their name, Sly Sparkane, Fight the Flat Earth, Stingray, the Rumpus. What are these people?
Fight the Flat Earth. His symbol is a knuckle duster.
Yeah.
I mean, what does that tell us?
And he's such an effeminate clown, which I find so ironic. Like, it's just...
know.
But actually, I want to make a quick point, Mark, before you go on to yours, about what Ali was saying. This is what is different about us fundamentally, is that flat Earth, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, Ali, but this is what I was thinking about me personally when I hear you say that. Flat Earth, ball Earth is a data point in life. It's just like NLP, it's just like dating, it's just like all the education, all these different things. It's a data point. If people want to go and look into it and find out that it's flat, that's up to them. We're not the type to go and like rub it in their face, like, you need to go and learn this and all that. They're doing that to us though, which is very, very telling. Yeah. So that's why there's something else going on here, and it's an ego agenda. It's ultimately a business, and so just the way that they're speaking, you don't even have to know what the argument is. You could just tell by their choice. Like if you got a transcript of any debate, and then even if you just watch it on mute, you could tell who's telling the truth, who sincerely wants the truth. These people are completely childish. What are other stupid names that these ballers have?
Professor Dave.
Professor Dave. Who's that
kid? Blue Marble Science.
Bob the
Simon Dan.
Simon Dan.
Oh, sorry, Mark.
That's
Bob
the one.
The science guy.
Oh, Bob the science guy. Oh, no.
Who's the Welsh guy?
Who's that one with the kid with the knife in his hand, and he's holding a knife in his avatar? He hangs out with Fight the Flat Earth and all that.
Oh, I think he's from Norway. That's
you know who I'm talking about.
Geostreber.
Geostreber, dude. He has a freaking. Who does that, dude? Like, come on.
Who's the Welsh guy? It's like a Piggy Blinder.
Yeah, that's it. Squeaky Blinder or something. Creaky Blinder.
Oh, Creaky Blinder. He needs to.
All the cats, conspiracy cats. Like,
God, man.
33.
Spell cats, CATZ. Come on, you want us to trust when you're spelling cats with a Z? Like this is.
He's a teacher. He's a teacher as well. He can't spell.
Conspiracy.
Ali, if you guys are bored next week, man, I'm gonna premiere. It's not gonna be a live stream, but I'm doing a roast of like the 15 flat earthers that I hate. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put some quotes. I'm not gonna do the accent or anything, but it's gonna be kind of a fun thing because I find that some of the flat earthers are becoming indistinguishable from the ball earthers. But on the level of childishness, the ball earthers are just, they're
streets ahead, man.
Conspiracy Cats invited me onto his show to give my 3 best flat earth proofs, and I fell for it. I went onto his show and gave him that, and within 24 hours of him publishing it, there was 2,000 comments on his stream.
Jeez.
And,
awesome.
and 99% of them were just totally vitriolic and insulting and nasty. And he invited me to go back onto his show to make a counterclaim to his explanations. And I said yes, but then when I looked at all the vitriolic comments, I sent him an email. I said, look, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to set myself up to be ridiculed and bullied, because they came onto my channel as well and started to give me a whole lot of grief.
Mark, imagine if water could curve. You know how amazing that would be? We would all sit and just talk about how cool that is, Like we're not against that happening if it is what it is, but that's crazy, man, for people to
but if somebody comes onto my channel and says don't procreate, and then you look at their channel and there's absolute zero content.
Right.
Well, I don't want to set myself up for that. If somebody wants to talk to me on an intellectual level, by all means. But the majority of Conspiracy Cats followers are just mockers.
Correct. And Fight the Flat Earth, they're all the same.
They've got nothing to offer us.
What have we learned from Rumpus, who's been on for probably who knows how many hours he's compiled? Has anyone learned a single thing from that guy about anything? Like
how to drink a pint of cider? That's all.
Yeah, that's it. How to make fun of people. It's crazy. And the cool thing about them, and I agree with starving their panels, because I listened to that debate with him, Stingray, or not that debate, but that hangout with him, Stingray, Al K, and all that. He started making fun of the other people and started making fun of Ruhif and stuff like that. And Stingray, saying that he's the smartest. So they'll just like eat each other, cannibalize each other.
Well, I was on one time, and it's so funny. This is about 3-4 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking into optics, right? And that Dean came on, he started talking about ray tracing. I said, oh, I've not heard of that. What's that? So I looked into it because I love reading. I'm like a bookworm. I really am a bookworm. So I looked into it. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And it actually said about it. I found out there's 2 different types of optics, geometric and physical. And if you look up geometric optics, which is done by ray tracing, and the fact is there's not such a thing as a ray. A ray does not exist. A ray of light does not exist. It's beams, and it's like these beams going to smaller beams kind of thing, right?
Okay.
So when you have ray tracing, it's like it doesn't give a deterioration of a shadow, because shadows don't end in sharp lines, right? That's a fact, right? Go and look at a shadow. It'll go black, then it'll go grey, and then lighter, if you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
But if you look at shadows on computer games, all that ray tracing, it's defined lines, right? And it even says geometric optics does not replicate reality. In Big Right now, I went on for a debate with that what's his name? That Dean. I pulled him up. And this is about 4 months ago, and I stuck it into his head, and he still goes on about it. He still goes, he still does these drawings. And I thought, you dishonest piece of shit, I've already told you, and you know that I gave you the links to it. You know this, it's your profession. So but he knows it.
Yeah,
he's denying it. He's denying it. So to me, that's totally dishonest.
Yeah.
You understand? And it's great the way, as I say, and that's a perfect example of someone that's so highly qualified. He does know his stuff. He is a genuine, when he says what he is. But the point is, when they look down on people, that kind of thing, and lying, they're basically gaslighting the audience.
Yeah.
They're basically lying to people. And
what
these
would motivate somebody to do that, Ali? Like, how does somebody get motivated to do that every day? I don't understand. Like, it's crazy. That's one of the main questions I would have to an entity outside of us, is how is he able to do that? I only understand normal people, like people who come by here. You talk, hey, what's up? Like ask questions like a normal person. I don't understand these rumpuses. Like, how does somebody become like that?
Like,
so you explain. Sorry,
if they're shills. Sorry. Well,
no. I was going to say. There's a delay. That's why we keep over talking. But I was just going to say, Chirac, that's just the minds that have got. And you said it early on. This behaviour is just an expression of something that came from their childhood, the way that they've been brought up, or their experiences. If there's a guy called Dr. Someone Shipton, right? I've got it's one of my favourite videos. It's like 8 minutes. He's a psychologist, a child psychologist, and a chemical biologist or whatever as well. And he was actually explaining that, we gather, or children from the age of 0 to 7, they actually gather they've actually decided their world view by that age, and the rest of it is just a refinement of that. But a lot of people, they're most impressionable, and that rings so true because of that famous quote by the Jesuits. Give me. Yeah, but with the Jesuits, they also quoted, give me a child for 7 years. Yeah. Give me a boy for 7 years, and I'll show you the man. And they said that 400 years ago. Yeah. This psychological stuff. Think if you played golf for 400 years, Chirac.
Oh hell yeah!
You'd be exactly. And they've had the best brains working on this.
Right.
The people that are coming up with doing all these tests, and the scientists and all that, they haven't got a clue what they're doing.
Yeah.
They have not got a clue that what they're actually they're actually doing.
Big time.
The people that's employing them, they don't know what they are doing with the information.
Yeah. You know what, Ali, dude, I was thinking about that earlier. Sorry to interrupt whoever's about to speak, but I was literally thinking about that before this live stream, that because I mentioned earlier, I was listening to our friend Donald Chump answer a question from a news person. What do my kids do? They're bored and all that. I was thinking, like, imagine if all this financial stuff wasn't here, Corona wasn't here, and kids could just have some of this time that they have now to just explore and create, you know, and you could teach them magnetism, you know, be safe about things, electricity and all these kind of things, and what they could create, you know, in like 6 months or a year, just on their own, you know, with like groups of kids and like, you know, some direction. And like, as if like teaching them things at a young age, they're like too stupid or not capable to understand. It would just be amazing to me how much quicker discoveries would happen, you know, like these little kind of incubators that would happen. And that to me is just tragic that a reporter would ask that. Obviously, I believe those are scripted, but to me, it's so tragic. And I've obviously been through this system that information has been commoditized, knowledge has been made into a business, and that's shocking. You know, it's horrible. I might have interrupted somebody. Sorry, before I started that.
No, I was just going to say, like Bob the Science Guy, Blue Marble Science, and the Rumpers. They've all learned from the same script,
right?
And they're so indoctrinated that you couldn't really find a wedge between the three of them.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, that they're all totally convicted.
Yeah,
in their opinion. I think that we have given ourselves the permission to investigate the alternative.
Correct.
And they haven't, because it would be too much of a step of cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, I would say one thing too, Mark, that I would also kind of echo that point is like, one of the strongest points against the Bible is like, oh, how come there's all these denominations? It must not be true. But I would say the strongest evidence of truth of the flat earth is that we have different groups, different camps. I don't co-sign everybody. Very few people co-sign me. And that's not the way it is in the ball earth. Everybody co-signs everybody else, pretty much, except Rumpus, who puts himself above everybody. Rumpus is the god of flat earth, you know, and then everybody reports to him. But that's I would say is a good, healthy thing on the flat earth when you have different groups, you know, and stuff. I'm not saying I agree with all the different groups and what they stand for, but the ball earthers are singing from the same hymnal. And
once you've dismissed God and religion, the only thing left is science, and it's a very tight knit construct. What am I trying to say here? Yeah, there's no sectarianism with it, is there?
No, not in the ball earth.
No, in science. I'm talking about science in itself.
Barely anymore.
Just for people to know, sectarianism, the definition is excessive attachment to a particular sect or party, especially in religion. And so that's all.
It's all kind of a monolith now.
Yeah, it's everybody is. I don't know too much about the peer review process. I know a little bit in electrical engineering, and it goes out to multiple people. There's multiple, you know, revisions and all that. I don't know how rigorous it is, what their standards are. What I've heard though from other grad students is that professors who are part of like IEEE transactions, they'll get papers that they're supposed to review because they've been in the industry for many, many years. They'll just throw it on the grad student desk and then walk away. You know, the grad student they don't like. And so like, what's the grad student going to do? He's just going to be like, yeah, you know, this looked good. Yeah. And, you know, a couple comments and then get rid of it. So again, I'm not saying that's in every field, but
and if I have a fresh opinion on evolution, I'm sending it to evolutionists who will leave it.
Can I just say something 1 minute? Flat Earth Boxer, will you turn your mic up and just interrupt us? Because I know you've got loads to say. I'd love to hear what you've got to say, actually. But turn your mic up.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
That's better. That's better.
Yeah, I think sometimes my phone's microphone's pretty bad. There's when I was in university, when I started discovering especially when I was in liberal arts, granted, but I was discovering that if I made my papers utilizes sufficiently specialized enough language and a niche enough topic, there's no way the professor could say anything against it. And then as I started going to ASU lectures in order to ask professors about the Earth being flat, like physics professors about the cosmology, whether the Earth's spinning and all that, I found that the topics of these professors were so infinitely specialized that when they gave their how do you call them? When they gave lectures, especially lectures that were geared to other professors, I could tell none of the other professors had any idea what they were talking about. They were only asking questions about very particular things within the domain of the lecture that they may have had some cursory experience in, just in order to hear the other professor who was giving a lecture confirm that they knew that one particular thing. They were just confirming that they knew about something.
Yeah.
None of them had any idea whether or not what the other person was saying was true, and that was the point.
It's a complicated network because let's just say that person you've already used their work to build onto your work, and then there's a foundation, there's a network. There is a conflict of interest there when it is such an incestuous group. So yeah, I agree. It's not perfect at all. There is no independent review. And you're right, when you go down that niche trail too much, it's a different language. It's like literally learning a new language that no one else can verify. And
well, on
Jose's, they seem to even know what they're talking about to one another. Like I'm trying to say, it's just pure correspondence. Okay, I understood I can put this word next to this word, and it should be next to this word. But having an actual understanding of what that word means, how it corresponds to a real thing in reality, I'm starting to doubt that actually is a thing.
Yeah, but wait, FEB, you went to these lectures as like a visiting, like an outside?
Yeah, they'd be colloquiums, but I'm a alumni at ASU, so I can go to these.
Oh, okay, dude, that's dope, man. That's bold what you did, because I'll be honest, I don't even know if I necessarily want to do what you did, even though I feel compelled to, because like I don't know what they're gonna do. You know, if I go to the medical center, they'll be like, "Oh my God, this guy's trespassing," and all this kind of stuff.
They don't. They're because they're so because they're arrogant. I would say that they're arrogant, but they're right. They're making an accurate assessment. No one actually challenges them in their own spaces, and that's where they're most vulnerable. Like that's like the Death Star. It's like that they have all these things protecting them where they aren't vulnerable, like the banks or whatever. I don't know. Yeah. Because they just print the money. But at the university, which is the intellectual hall of the center, the nuclear core, if you will, of the scientific technocratic regime, where if you just walk in and just ask a question, they're destroyed. Yeah. They have no protections there, and they don't even expect it. But it's game over, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, they've been vulnerable the whole time.
I've mentioned Flat Earth to my ex-advisor in grad school, and he just put a smiley face back. He invited me to some yearly corporate affiliates day, and I just mentioned the Flat Earth, and he just put a smiley face back. So a school like Rice University, anything in Houston would crumble if the Earth was flat, because it has ties to NASA and all that kind of stuff. So the whole university would just shut down, overnight.
Yeah. Let me quickly interrupt. I want to just mention something about peer review before I forget. Right, that on Jose's today, I was listening to it when I was driving. There's a guy called Miles Davis. Do you know this guy, Miles? Right, and he was talking about. He's actually had papers peer reviewed, right?
Really?
And he talked, and he talked about. Now I heard this. He got interviewed by this guy a year ago that happened, and I was like, "Oh, I know that guy," and he was like, "Yeah." He says, and he started telling this story about one of the guys that was to peer review his paper was what do you call it? Someone that was working in the same field, an opponent, shall we say, and he had to peer review it, and he rejected it.
Okay.
Two guys okayed it, and one guy rejected it. Right, so he got it sent back. Now Miles Davis appealed against that, and he made the point that hey, that guy's an opponent of mine. He's working on the same field. I think he's been biased, and it was overturned, and he got it. Right, so that shows that the peer review process, there's a flaw in it. But the most interesting thing was, because I'd heard the story, was when people started, when the other people in the panel can't remember. So you're saying that they would be corruptible, and he was like, well, almost everyone. Obviously, there's going to be a few bad eggs, and I wish I was on the panel. I was going to say, well, just think about this then. How about that you had a company that only employed bad eggs or people that were going to cheat, and you put them, what then? If you're going to fund those people that you know that are quite willing to bend over?
Yeah.
You know, what about the honourable ones don't get the contracts kind of thing?
Yeah.
It's the bit, you know, they can't seem to take that final step of thinking that, you know, they're saying, oh, how could the secret be hidden, or how could one person control it? Well, the people that control it hire the people.
Yeah.
Ali, did you hear Miles Davis debate with Kent Hovind on evolution and creation?
I don't really I don't really listen to debates on religion, because atheists come up with the same old crap. I could defend religion better than most people that try and defend religion. It's shocking. It really is. There's so many flaws.
The Mind of God. Did you hear that debate between Miles Davis?
No, I haven't. What's the highlights?
Well, Miles Davis came along with a different name. I think his real name. He's not called Miles Davis.
It's not Miles the Liar Davis?
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not his real name. No, that's a pseudonym.
Yeah, I thought so.
But he debated with Kent Hovind on evolution and creation.
Okay.
It surprised me, because I listened to Kent Hovind, and I heard this guy talk, and I'm sure that's Miles Davis. And the more it went on, yeah, that's definitely, isn't it? It turned out to be him.
Interesting. How many different freaking aliases do these people have, man? Like, come on. Oh my God, what's going on here? They have split personalities.
Yeah.
We're dealing with a bunch of ventriloquists, multi-personality, mentally deranged people who think that it's funny to get on and prove something that should be very, very trivial if the Earth is indeed doing what they're telling. We should be able to come up with thousands of rigorous proofs. So.
My name and address is part of my profile.
Right.
I made it public, and my telephone number and my email address. My telephone number's there as well. I never cared
all the time
from the beginning when I started, because I done before Flat Earth. I made about 500 videos about everything from vaccinations, the New World Order, symbolism, everything, man. Because I loved reading. Once I found. Yeah,
you and I have got the balls to say who we are.
Right.
The Mind of God and Flat Earth Boxer. They're hiding behind a pseudonym.
Yeah, I know. I wonder who that street. Does he really play golf?
It's funny. I used to have a second channel, and I put all golf videos on it, and I deleted them. And then I was working on my swing today, and I realized, man, I wish I kept some of those videos, because my driver is awful. Yeah, no, I think the people that come by here,
your driver's awful.
I only attract individuals.
See his ugly face, Ali.
Yeah, I think that that's what I think is so interesting about the world that we live in now, is that coming across people who are just normal people, like just whether ball earthers or flat earthers, not even that, but just people, individuals who don't come with some kind of corporate thing. That's rare. You know, and I think that's such a crazy world that we live in, that's so unique, you know, that, but, you know, I'm thankful for the few that do that. But, yeah, man, it's crazy.
I mean, the Rumpus. I mean, what sort of name is that?
That's not him in the picture, I'm pretty sure.
It is him.
Is it really?
Yeah, I spoke to him and I said, "Is that you?" And he said, "Yeah."
No, I don't think it is, because he says he claims to be a software project manager. I suspect that he works for the government. And he said one time that he doesn't want to reveal his identity in case he wants to do some, you know, take some leadership or political role or something like that, which implies to me that he's already in that system, you know. And so he definitely is not showing his face, because imagine if they played those and he's lobbying for some position, political position. Oh my God, dude. I find it entertaining, but, you know, people like us, you know, it took me a little bit of time, because I internalized those a lot at the beginning. Like, I would be sweating, I would need to like get some water and relax and stuff like that. But now it's just a waste of time, because I just looked at all those hours and I just didn't learn anything. You know, I just learned all the ways to make an argument in such a poor way. I mean, don't really need to keep doing that over and over again. So.
Yeah, it's brought me a peace to a certain extent to know that also, no matter how well formed your argument is, if a person doesn't want to know, they don't want to know.
Yeah. They're outsourcing their proofs to us. They're like, how does that work on a flat earth? That's not what rigorous people do. They present all the other cases and then present some unique solution. So they're essentially outsourcing their work to us and then making fun of us because we don't have an answer to their question. And these are how sinister these people are.
I've persuaded people, not even I, but simply the statement, the earth is God's footstool. So that one statement alone, I've seen that flip people from a dude who was an engineer, and a Christian. I saw that flip him that one claim, instantly knowing the earth is flat. Or at least,
really?
So wait, and then he came back 2 hours later. Yeah, the earth's flat. And then I've spent hours and hours giving them the most rigorous, well articulated, documented, substantiated claims.
Yeah.
With the most patience I could ever possibly imagine. And they still go, yeah, but why down? Why do things fall down?
As if they wouldn't fall down on a flat earth, they would just start floating off in random directions. Like, calm.
It's kind of a philosophical or ontological question they're asking, like, ultimately, why down? And then I would have to tell them, well, I can't manipulate a variable in order to isolate the cause of down. All I can say is that axiomatically down is where things fall.
Yeah.
And that's all. That's not an explanation. So the Earth's a spinning ball going around the sun, covered in a gas.
Right.
In the middle
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
Oh,
let's
it's
take
okay,
4,000 other steps, down that direction for sure. Yeah.
Gentlemen, what is the worst but actually best proof of globe Earth?
At this point, to me, it's just the amount of people that believe it. And I still think that that's something. It's still compelling. It's just like even the coronavirus. A lot of people, it's out there in the news. So I don't want to say firmly because I don't know. I don't want to, potentially disrespect people or whatever. So it's the same with that. It's the same with really anything. It's still a lot of people believe it, and I would say it's the same with really the society. A lot of people still believe in it. So I don't want to prematurely, make judgments. But I would say that's mine, Mark. What about yours or anybody else?
Soundless pictures of on Stream Bridge.
Are you kidding?
That is the worst, best.
I don't know. I don't know you well enough to know if you're being sarcastic, but I'm pretty sure you are.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. When that came out, that was a victory almost as big as the Black Swan. I'm like, if they're gonna claim that that's Earth curve, we won already. Like, there's no way that any normal person would look at a bridge and be like, we're going to see some Earth curve. That's crazy. So do you have one for real or you don't think anything really points?
No, I was being sarcastic, but I think that is the best but worst
okay, fair enough.
explanation of a globe Earth. And it's such an easy, low-hanging fruit for us to pick apart.
Yeah, agreed. I would say for me as an electrical engineer, satellites do cause some issues because, something's up there doing stuff, but I don't know. Does it just go out and then start orbiting? I don't think so. But that whole space is something that, as an electrical engineer, is interesting. I wouldn't think that things exist like that and then say that the Earth is a ball. That's for sure. But the bottom-up thing's ours now. I think that's so beautiful. There was a time maybe a month or two ago. I would have said bottom-up obstruction is the big thing that I think. But now that's ours, actually, which is amazing that it's easier to explain bottom-up obstruction on a flat Earth now than it is on a curved Earth, thanks to Black Swan and the work of Life Short. So they're completely screwed. That was their major thing. That got taken away. And then their explanation of the Black Swan was non-physical. And so, I'm sure people like Ali and others, Mark and all these people, you guys have known this, but that's when the light bulb kind of went off for me. I'm like, oh, like, I can't repeat what Ruhif just said to anybody else,
What the Rumpus has been writing a thesis for the past 2 months. If he published it now, he would have to contradict himself on the Black Swan.
Correct. And he won't publish it because if we took that document to any other real technical person, there's nothing in there, that's physical. It's just nonsense.
Yeah. Well, in the beginning, his point was the geometrical curve.
Yeah.
And now he said he can't use that. He's admitted that.
Yeah. Now he's resorted. Their last hope is light rays and the way they operate in a medium. Yeah. And so the surface really doesn't matter to them at all. It's strictly the light rays in the atmosphere and how they move. Yeah. And that's the way it had to have been from the beginning. But they were just lazy and started just easily citing that curve, blocking things. And then, now they've been caught.
Who's the guy that takes photographs along Salt Lake City? Salt Lake.
Tim Osman?
Oh, is he not an asshole? He's the first against the wall come the revolution.
Yeah, but I find certain people do it in a way that that they're trolling, like Brenda. So I do think that they're mean, but it's just different when they do it. Fight the Flat Earth really feels like he gets something from making fun of people. So it's a little bit different. But yeah, Tim is it. And right on cue when Corona came, there's a comment below one of Ranty's hangouts. Right on cue, Tim's like, yo, I know somebody, they almost died yet. And I'm like, this is perfect. Of course, Tim Osman is the first person to come in and shill for the virus.
Do you know that lot talking about the fight the flat earth, that Red's rhetoric and Sean Hufford and all that, yeah?
Yeah.
Right. Do you know how much all their GoFundMes that they've had have actually added up to them? About 5 of them.
Go on.
Do you know how much they asked for all in?
Go on.
All the little $130,000.
What? They've gotten that much?
No, they asked for that. They got $78,000 all in. They'd have a GoFundMe for Red's Rhetoric's car got hit by a pig. And such and such had to move to here, but all in a guy on the net there on another channel that I just watch. He's an anti-flat earther. He's a bit of a dick, but he picked on these guys, and I was like, because they were tied in with the flat earth. These ballers are getting screwed the ass off. They go on about Nathan Oakley and who else? Whoever else takes. They're going about him or asking for $1,000. These guys have been, $130,000, and they use Red's Rhetoric's channel to do it because he's got the highest viewers, and it's like sob stories. Sean Hufford, he got $3,000, right? And about a week later, he comes back with another one and said that the money had been stolen, and it was to move down to Florida. Right? This is, I'm telling you, and I'm thinking, I find it ironic. I just have a little chuckle to myself when I hear the ballers going about Nathan Oakley take money. These guys are taking money, and I'm like, oh my God, if you guys only knew, or do you?
What I mean? What about the Greater Sapien? How much did he?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I heard about that.
Do we ever hear of him anymore?
No, but
this seems to be organised. This seems to be like an organised thing. Because they're basically using each other and promoting all the GoFundMes, and that's Steve McRae's of the non sequitur. He's involved in it as well.
Yeah,
they give each other their channels, and then they go for GoFundMes, and who knows, are they splitting the money between them and all this?
Yeah. They know each other, dude. Steve McRae knows George Natchuk. They somehow know Rumpus, and it's just a network of people and government / military, whatever you want to say. But dude, they're singing from the same sheet, and I have a feeling also some of their super chats are fake, and I don't know how they're able to do this. Maybe YouTube gives them some way to give super chats to kind of like lube grease the wheels.
They're doing that. They're doing that with the GoFundMes. That was another thing, right? With the GoFundMes, they'd maybe get Red's Rhetoric or someone to go under a false name and stick in 20 bucks and stuff like that and get people. Honestly, man, I'm telling you, it's a pure scam, but it's so funny. I love it. This is what I love about it, because they're so they speak so detrimental towards us, and I'm sitting back there, yeah, God, fire it onto me. I don't care, man. Insult me as much as like. If only yous guys knew it's yous that are getting taken the piss out, and not me. My life isn't going to change if suddenly the government turns around and says, "Oh, by the way, we've been lying. The Earth's flat." I say, "Well, that's not going to change my life. I'm still going to pay tax. They're still going to make shady vaxes. They're still going to control. You know what I mean? It's like,
agreed.
These guys are obsessed with it more than flat earthers. Flat earthers are not obsessed with the shape of the Earth. We know and we're happy. Yeah, we don't. You know, as I say, most of us, if we found out we were wrong, all right, yeah, fair enough. And I think the majority of us would say, yeah, we were wrong, kind of thing, right? Let's get back to the real stuff about the governments, the vaxes, everything, man, the financial side of it, everything.
Yeah.
You know,
Ali, the first time you and I met, there was no such thing as Simon Dan. And then all of a sudden, one day, he appears on YouTube with like 200,000 followers from nowhere.
Yeah, wow, that was creepy, man.
He paid for those because he even filmed when it was crossing over like the 100,000 point. And the only way you can do that is if you're paying somebody to up your sub number. So there's no way people are watching somebody that boring. And I'm not trying to be rude to him, but Red's Rhetoric and all these people, we think they're irritating, but they're actually somewhat entertaining. But there's no way Simon Dan has that many followers. I'm sorry. No way. No. Like actual followers.
He came from nowhere to that massive following. And he also has the tick of approval from YouTube. If you look at his name, he's got this little tick next to his name.
Yeah.
So there was obviously something was going on behind that.
He'll get bumped up in all the search results and all that. You can look for flat earth videos, and then even if you put the exact title in, it'll be like 100 videos down and all that kind of stuff. And so all this is just evidence that the earth is flat, because if the earth was a ball and I found out that a bunch of people believe that it's not, and the technology is incredible and it's not going to get worse, I'll just be like, whatever, they're going to figure it out eventually. You know, you don't go and like, you know, quit your job and then, you know, set up a YouTube channel and start making fun of other people. It's like just from human psychology, which, you know, people like Ali and whenever Misa's around, we find that the only interesting thing left, because that's all we can study. It's like a bunch of little lappers, you know. It's like,
exactly, man. It's turned into that. It really is. Go check out, right? How many? Right, here's a question to the panel: how many subs, without looking, do you think Blue Marble Science has got? You know that. Oh man,
I've got
baby. Give me a. How many do you think?
100,000.
100,000. 10,000.
Oh, do you think as much as that? Oh my God, that's a wee bit overestimated.
Okay.
I think. All right, how would you ever think that guy could get 100,000 subs?
Yeah, exactly. Never.
No. So how many? Knowing that, then, how many do you think possibly?
Okay.
Wait, Ali, for real that he actually has, or what it says on his YouTube page?
Well, on his YouTube page, right? No, that when I looked, I think he had about 6,000.
Yeah.
But I believe they're original. I do believe they're subs. I believe that. But I was thinking, because I've met a guy and I've talked to him and stuff like that. I'm like, how does a guy like that? Have you seen his videos? They're aimed at children. They're aimed at children, man. It's like what I'm saying about the protocols of Zion. If you listen to the news, go and watch the news. They say, right, boys and girls, gather round. Right, today there was a big bomb. Really, honestly, yep. The way that the media and stuff like that talk, and you go watch his videos, it's as if they're made for kids.
Yeah. And
the comments are from fucking, there I go again. The comments are for grown-up. They're from grown-ups, grown-up people. Mm-hmm. I'm like, he's got a donkey going, eat on. Fucking, what is this guy doing, man? I was like, how the hell did he get 6,000 subs or whatever he's got? How many he's got? I don't know. This was maybe a couple of months. He might have 4 or something. But I'm more interested is what you're saying, the psychology. I'm like, my goodness.
Yeah.
But that's who we're dealing with. That's just a reflection of the society we're living in.
But even the charismatic ones, Ali, even they're boring now, because it's the same thing. You know, Rumpus, Red's Rhetoric, and all these people, even the ones who are loud and all that. The last debate with Nathan Thompson and freaking Fight the Flat Earth. I mean, I can't listen to that more than like 30 minutes because I'm like, oh my God, this is super painful. Nothing.
I lasted 2 minutes. I don't even watch them. As I say, I really don't. I can't.
It's honestly for men who've been in a relationship with women, a lot of it is when you're just arguing with a woman. It's like, feels like it's going in circles, it's getting worse, like over time and all that kind of stuff. And it's just very, very, very feminine to me when I hear that kind of stuff.
When I think about when, like, because a lot of people pointing some of these guys out as agents, and I'm like, yous must have lived closeted lives, mate, because I've met loads of people like this. People think, oh, he's getting paid to do that. Yeah. I know people that would do what that person. I've met people like that. I'm seeing personality traits all over the place. 3/4 of the people, or maybe, I'll tell you what, I think about 1% or 2% of all the people that we deal with. There's definitely insiders. The rest of them are just, that's their personalities, mate. Yeah. They've got flawed personalities. And as you say, it's what you were talking about, it's something that's happened in their life, or it's when they were younger, or whatever. But this is an expression of that. And they're expressing this, all their flaws and their hatred and their pent-up anger at the world. They've got shit lives. Their wives are horrible. They're henpecked. I heard Bob the Science Guy. When Bob the Science Guy, the first time he came on, his wife came into the room and she screamed at him.
Really?
Honestly, for about a minute, it was brilliant. And from then on, I knew what drove him. He's a henpecked husband.
Yeah.
Seriously, she's screaming, and he'd left the mic open, and it was on for about a minute.
Yeah.
And her going, I was like, and he never said a word, man. And I was like, oh, this is entertainment. This is better than the telly. You forget the television. I want to
see that, Ali. all these beta going up against. I don't want any of that.
See you guys.
So nice one, Fly Earth Box. I hope the next time I won't talk as much. It's just I don't get much of a chance to meet these guys and have a chat.
I just have another thing. You're totally.
But it'll be great to hear.
What did you say?
Get your mic fixed. Get your mic fixed the next time, and then what you'll do is when you talk, people shut up, kind of thing. It's just a bit low, but I want to hear more about it.
I believe it.
I'll sub.
Right, guys. Gotta
go. Yeah, nice one. Thanks.
All right, buddy. Peace. Yeah, man. Appreciate your efforts, man. I'm gonna FEB. I'm gonna put the Corona thing too. I don't know. I don't want to promise that I'm gonna do this, but Houston has the largest medical facility in the world, and I may go and troll them a little bit if the weather's not good and I'm not golfing. So T-Mog has some time on his hands, but I appreciate his efforts, man, because there's so much hype around that. I don't really see sick people and all this. Like, we need ventilators and all that. So people out there who are pushing back in whatever way that they can, I would say don't do anything for people out there to get in trouble or put yourself in danger. It's not worth it. But this system is just what Ali's saying. Actually, I just realized is very, very true in my own life. I always thought that these ballers are just the hardcore government Kool-Aid drinking people, but I met a guy on the golf course who was, trying to Kool-Aid on me. So they're everywhere, dude. Yeah.
Well, Mark's got an interesting story. If you want to tell it, what Nora was talking about, Mark, about she phoned up the health service in Ireland or something.
I can't quite remember what the full facts, but she contacted hospitals in Dublin, asking for facts and figures on the coronavirus and how much pressure that the hospitals were put under, and they had nothing to tell her. It was just non-existence. And there's quite a few other.
It was an hour and a half, wasn't it, Mark? It was an hour and a half she was talking, and she was specifically asking for the treatment. She was asking, what, or what something, and the guy, the way she was explaining it, the guy was, and I was like, I knew the guy didn't have a clue, and she exposed it. I thought, and I think someone suggested that she should record it the next time, Mark. I can't remember who was on the panel as well with us. We talked about recording it.
That'd be gold. That would be
Oh,
gold.
it would be. It would. Absolutely, man.
Even Trump's like, it's a disease, it's a virus. People call it different things. And I was just
The
like,
China virus. The China virus. Let's be specific now.
yo, Trump, I don't obviously like this agenda, but you got to admit, dude, the guy is mad funny, dude. Like, I actually watched this Comedy Central roast because I have a lot of time on my hands. I'm watching all these comedy roasts, and the Donald Trump roast is mad funny, dude. He's just sitting there, and you could tell he doesn't like get angry. You know, when people get made fun of, you know, that it affects them. Trump just sits there and he's just like, whatever. Like, he doesn't care what people think, dude. It's mad funny. I would recommend people, if they're bored, check out Donald Trump.
There's a great video I seen, right? I think it was I think the Polish prime minister or something like that, right?
Yeah.
She was having she was meeting Trump, and what she did was, Trump was first in the kind of line, and she walked. Trump put out his hand. She walked straight past him and shook his wife's hand first, right? And you could see the look on Trump's face.
Wow.
And then, but wait a minute. And then just at the last wee second, he smiled. But a little, it's so indistinct, and you could tell, yeah, right, man. You know what I mean? That kind of fuck off. I don't mean, get to hell kind of thing. But that was that wee smile. I know who you are. I know why you did that. That kind of. But he's still a plant. He's still a plant. And as far as I'm concerned, he's a plant. And it's so funny that, isn't it so funny? Britain's got a blonde-haired guy as well that sounds like the Rumpus. Go listen to him. See that there? That's the Rumpus incarnate. That's the Rumpus exact. But blonde hair, he's a buffoon, or he acts the buffoon. But he's he's a plant as well. They're all plants, you know that. They all there's this one,
they know what they're saying doesn't make any sense. They know that because their stuff just doesn't make any sense. So they're not that stupid. Like, no one can be that dumb at this point. So
do you remember last year the fires going on in Australia? The Prime Minister of Australia is, but he was trying to do a photo opportunity, and a woman had just lost her home, and he wanted to shake her hand. Do you remember that? And she wouldn't shake his hand, but so he lifted her hand into his hand to shake it.
Holy cow.
I can make a bad joke about Trump, but I think he would do something different. But yeah, I could see Trump doing something like that. So Trump is just so perfectly representative of all of us as Americans. We deserve it. You know, I got a drink from this cup as well. But if we're going to just only care about basketball, football, you know, Instagram people, they're working out, they're my idol and all that, we deserve this, you know, as a collective group.
What state do you live in?
I'm in Texas. I'm in Houston.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
So here's a question for you guys then, right? Here's a question for you, right? Right. If say Trump was different, right? And we've accepted that there's this higher power that runs the army, the CIA, they can get to anybody kind of thing. So well, why would they let him live?
I think that he
unless he's useful, unless he's part of the he fits in to the plan. They can afford to let him have his go, but have a go of it. But if these people were truly all powerful, and he's this big savior that's going to save the world, don't you think they would have killed him? And they can't say, the Secret Service will save him, and he's so hard to get the president. My bottom, you know, anybody can be gotten at. End of story. Everybody's got a price. It could be the right hand mind. And remember, you have to remember this as well. All these parliaments, they're full of corrupt people. You couldn't trust anybody. You know what I mean? Who could you trust if you're in amongst it's even that it's a dog eat dog world that's in your education.
It takes a certain
it's absurd to think he's a savior.
I would say
to me anyway.
The way I see it, Ali, is like, you know, like Obama, when he got inaugurated here, when I was in, US at that time, there was a genuine sense of like, man, this guy could be the one who kind of fixes all the, the cold politics. And then, the 08 scam, hit us. And so he kind of softened that blow. And so the way I see it is like, it's almost like the inversion of the evil. They need somebody to represent that. And so the problem in the times that we live in now is the evil so much, they actually need somebody to throw under the bus, and so we see that with him. He's getting blamed for everything. And like, I feel horrible, but a guy that I golf with called me during this thing, and like, he doesn't like Trump. And so we used to kind of be able to talk about, how we had that in common. But now it's just like, now I don't like the people who are throwing Trump under the bus, because we know that Trump is just an actor, and so
everybody loves the underdog, right? And the thing is about, right, if you get a leader, right, there's a certain mentality of that group. You're going to protect your leader, right? So you've got that. So you've got a core, right? And then to get the other ones is just keep flinging mud, because eventually it gets a bit weird, and it's just a natural instinct. Everybody will go for the underdog. There'll only be so much. You'll get the people sitting on the fence thinking, "Oh, this is too rough, man." What? And then they'll start supporting the guy. So they've got it's dead easy. It's all psychology. They're just, to me, it's just honestly, to me it's just like watching a movie. Chirac, to be quite honest with you.
It's exactly what it feels like, dude. I literally, Ali, dude, I sometimes yeah. Sorry,
I'm an outsider. I'm just saying I'm an outsider observing these happenings that have been that are happening for years. I'm like, oh, my God, look, I know all this is going on, and it doesn't affect me in any way. It really doesn't. It doesn't, not in my life. Oh, okay, I've got to pay taxes, but hey, what? I get more back, pay my tax. To be in the system, to actually be able to benefit from the system, you have to be in it.
Yeah,
and it's only non-beneficial to people that don't understand the system. If you understand the system, you can, they can take the tax off you and stuff like that, but you can still have other ways of taking it back.
Yeah,
if you understand, you use the system; it's there to be used. That's what rich people in a higher echelon, for example, a lawyer, they'll know some scam. Or some little, like rich people might be told, hey, by the way, first thing you do is start up a fund for your children.
Yeah.
Great tax dodge. Also, if you want to pay less tax, is give so much to charity every year. You'll get a percentage, blah, blah, blah. And so on. You don't get told that the plumber, the guy that's digging holes for the commune or the council or whatever, doesn't get told the little tricks, but they're there for him if he wants.
Yeah, I agree.
It's all there. You know as well. That's your thing.
Check this out, Ali.
The finances.
I think you'll agree with this. Is that what's happening now with this financial shakeup, and I've seen this a little bit in my own personal life with others, is that the small companies that allow people to be, autonomous outside of, the big corporate politics and structures and all that, once they have these crashes and then they start handing out money to people, it's just basically a rope that they're throwing to people to pull them in if they're not already dependent on the system. So all these things are really, all of them, the ball earth, this financial stuff, everything ultimately is to get people intellectually and financially dependent on the system. And I agree. And they're successful for sure. They're doing pretty well.
In the UK, they call it benefits. You get benefits if you but it's not a benefit. It was money stolen from you in the first place.
Exactly. Yes, correct.
And a very small part of this money that was stolen from you is given back to you, and it's labeled a benefit.
Yeah.
Listen, John,
we call it stimulus when it's subsistence. That's what it is. A stimulus is like, hey, you take a shot of coffee, you drink some Coke, you get, more energized, but that their wording, and I'm glad you brought that up, Mark. Just the term stimulus package does not make sense because it's barely enough for people to exist. So,
gentlemen, I'd love to talk to you, but it's 10 to 1. I don't know how Ali does it. He's an hour ahead of me. I'm ready for bed. Howie, how do you do it?
Well, this is me winding down, by the way. This is my... I'm actually so glad because I've just driven back from Germany, Switzerland. So I've been driving for my allocated 10 hours and I've just got back. That was me. You came on live. I thought, oh, bang, I can debrief
Nice.
Is it 5-2 for you at the moment, Ali?
Yep.
You're a man.
I was in it for the love of the game. We know that, so that's what it is.
But Chirac stimulates me, and this is a great conversation. And I don't get very often chance to speak with like-minded people.
No,
It's great. It'd be great to have just like one hangout where about 5 or 6 flat earthers just talking about everything we know.
Yeah.
But just like finances or whatever any bit of information that we've looked into, we've found out, and just shoot the shit.
Yeah.
Just like about 5 or 6 of us.
Ali and Stuart, I love you both. I'm going to go to bed.
All right.
All right. Oh, Mark, one thing. Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. Tomorrow night's 8 o'clock your time. Chris, FE, Jackson, myself are going to have a hangout, live hangout together. And he's a guy you want to meet. You want to have a cozy chat with him, but you might even. That's a live hangout tomorrow.
Is it just you and him? Is it?
Yeah, it's just me and him.
And whose channel is it on?
On mine.
Okay.
Just for a listen, it'll be 8 o'clock or whatever. But he's a dead interesting guy. He went on Jose's, and they kind of clamped up when he started talking about radio waves and stuff, because that's his job. He works and knows about plasma fields and stuff like that. It's his job, he's very highly qualified, but he's a flat earther. But you hear a conversation, but I would love you, because I mentioned you tonight to him. I had a hangout with him, a private hangout, just a chat with him. I said, you've got to see Mark Doxey. He's like the undiscovered David Bailey of the photograph world, man. He takes pinhole photography, the whole lot of the black and white. He broke his sorry, Mark. He broke his P900. He took the lens off it, smashed one of the gears. So he took out so it's an infrared camera now.
Yeah.
He's taken out the filter. And he's putting it back together. He's an electronic guy as well.
Every camera that you buy has got an infrared filter built into it, and if you can just get that out of it, you'll be amazed at what you can get.
Yeah, but I told him about you. Sorry, I told him about you, and I said you've got to meet and chat. Maybe you come on later on or whatever. I'll see you anyway. Sorry, Mark.
Saturday night, yeah.
Yeah, tomorrow night, yeah.
Good man. Okay, I'll be listening in. I'm going to say good night, gentlemen.
Yeah, all right, thanks, Mark. Thanks for stopping by, man. Peace.
All right.
Ali, you know what's funny, dude? I searched for Chris F.E. Jackson's channel, and Michael Jackson came up as the first one. Yeah. Oh man, YouTube, man, we're on to you guys. You know what I mean? Stop doing.
You've got to do Chris, Chris with a capital C.
Yeah.
Then you do capital F.E. and then capital J for Jackson.
Okay, so yeah, maybe it cares about the case. Let's see. That's weird.
It's all the one word.
Oh, it's all one word?
Yeah.
Oh, that'll help. Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah, because I think once it sees Jackson, it's just automatically going to go to, He done
a great thing on the life of Brian, right? And it was called Ball Earth Brian. Have you seen the film The Life of Brian?
No.
Oh, with Monty Python?
No, I haven't seen it. I never got into that actually back in the day.
Well, I did, but as I say, and I realise what it was now because they're all atheists as well, and they've kind of realised what it is now. Mm-hmm. I wasn't laughing about the fact, but anyway, what he did is he turned the characters into Ball Earther, talked about the rumpus. Mm-hmm. It's quite funny. That's cool. As I said.
Yeah, I don't know if you have to go. I got a question for you.
No, I'm okay, mate. I'm still just whenever. I'm okay.
It's not really on the Bible, so we can just kind of speak. This I normally just open up to talk about whatever, but I'm curious what you think about the notion of like consciousness and like how, let's say there's a generic entity out there that made everything, and is still somehow in control of everything, how we can feel independent. Do you ever think about that? How somebody obviously we won't maybe have the answer, but like how somebody could even do that. How can we feel independent from an entity that controls everything, but still we feel free?
Well, I think I talked about this before, right? Is I said, like, so if there is a God, right,
Mm-hmm.
and and it did say in the Bible, it did mention in the Bible that he gave us dominion, or gave us the earth or whatever. And what I believe is I don't believe he interacts in our lives. If he created us, he's there, and it probably hurts him. But as I say, he's probably made a promise, created this, made a promise to himself that I'm going to let it go. But I think what he did do is he created for better want of a word, an atmosphere, or a ether, as I say, or an energy or whatever.
Yeah.
That perhaps when you do things good or in the right way or whatever, that is you kind of worshipping God because you're living by his word. No, I don't necessarily think you have to pray, go and pray for forgiveness all the time. Or I don't believe that at all, because he knows I never sinned. He knows, he created me. He knows me, or whatever. But I think he's just given us, and so I do believe he did give us free will. I do, but it doesn't mean that. But as I say, I don't think. I think he just let us. He let us go out of kindness of his heart, because he probably doesn't. I don't believe all this. You shall worship, bow down below me, and or whatever. I don't believe he said that, and that's that. Whatever it was that created here has been twisted by man writing that down. I don't believe it was inspired. Man's been known to lie throughout history.
Yeah.
So why the hell? I'm surrounded by liars, man. And these, we seem to think because of the sign, we are more intelligent of people that lived 10, 20, 30,000 years ago. But we were the same type of person, same types of personalities. There were still inventive people, there were still curious people, there were still horrible people.
Yes.
Same personalities, man.
Yeah,
and the same intelligence and stuff. So we are no different from those people back there.
Yeah,
I don't believe that there was anybody that's, when I hear about Muhammad meeting, going up to God, going all the way up to God, and asking how many times shall I pray, right? But he got, I think he goes and speaks to, I think it's, who's the guy at the gates? Peter, is it Peter?
Yeah, they'll say Peter. Yeah.
Right. Well.
Yeah.
So Muhammad apparently flew up there, right? Spoke to Peter.
Yeah.
And said, I'm going to ask God how many prayers we should say per day. You know how you do one in the morning, one in the sunrise, midday, and sunset, sundown, right?
Yeah.
So he went up and discussed with God, and he came back and he said 6,000. Right? And Peter said, no, he says, you can't do that. Go back in and tell me you want less.
Yeah.
Right. And this is how ridiculous the story is. So Muhammad's apparently going up and saying to God, no, that's too many.
Yeah.
I want less. And he kept going back and forward about 4 or 5 times till he got it down. And I think maybe it's 5. Maybe I got the number wrong.
Yeah.
But this is a story. This is right. And now to believe that, and that's just one part of it. So I believe men have lied. I think if there's a God there and he's the most compassionate, and he's created an energy where it's either a reward system, because I do believe in karma.
Yeah.
And if there's a God, well, he made that kind of, how could you explain that? That reward where just because you do something good happens to you, or if someone bent or whatever. I don't know where it comes from, but it's out there, and it does happen. If you're aware of yourself, you'll realize that. And if there's a God, he laid that down for us, man.
Yeah.
Because that exists, and that's to me, that's freaky, and I can't conceptualize that just happening. It'd be like believing in the Big Bang, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it? That's absurd.
I'm just looking
So
up the story that you quoted, and I've never heard that, but that's very interesting about Muhammad asking, how many times.
I've read the whole Quran.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's pretty cool.
If you want to read his best life story, right?
Yeah.
This is the best one. It's called The Sealed Nectar. If
Mhm.
you want to know, and it's the official history of Muhammad. He was actually, his grandfather was a rich merchant.
Yeah.
And all this, but the point is, and it's stamped by the Saudi seal of approval. It won the award, and it's now the official life story of Muhammad, and it's called The Sealed Nectar.
Damn.
Great. I'm telling you, see, when you read that,
Yeah.
if you read it from finish to end, right?
Yeah.
You will then understand why that young kids or young guys will strap bombs to themselves and go and commit suicide.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
I swear, you will, if you read it. Forget the Quran. The Quran's interesting as well, the surah and all, the surahs and all
But
that.
just for the audience, whoever hears Ali's point, which is great, is that Muhammad is asking for the number of prayers, and he finds out it's 50, and then Moses talks him down to 5, and so that's where the number 5 came from. And I've never heard that before, and that's very, very interesting where that number comes from. But so your take on that, Ali, about I actually, when you said that story, it made me think of that same parent who stood up and asked Donald Trump, of all people, what are my kids supposed to do? The way I would think that God would answer that is, first off, your life should be some form of a prayer. It's not like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then those kind of questions, to me, God would not put a rigid number to, because it should be when a person feels compelled to pray. And so that whole number 5, like, that seems odd to me, that God would do that. But
it was 5 or 3. But what you've got to remember is, if you actually look at the symbolism in here's another interesting story, right?
Yeah.
When Muhammad had his dreams, he used to go up in a cave, right? And he'd have these dreams. He'd have these dreams, and he'd come back to his wife, as the merchant woman, right?
Yeah.
She was a merchant, and she hired him, then married him, kind of thing. And she was educated in a convent, which is a Catholic. So people don't seem to realize how long the Catholic Church has been. So anyway, right?
Yeah, they're pretty powerful.
Right. So he comes back all distraught. Tells her his dreams.
Yeah.
So she takes him to his uncle, who is a priest, a Catholic priest, and he translates the dreams.
Yeah.
So it's the translation. He tells Muhammad what his dreams were.
Yeah.
So he could describe something, and his wife's uncle, who was a Catholic priest, actually told him, and this is from the official life story of him, right? It's not like, some internet dude on the thing. I've read the books, you know what I mean?
Yeah. His wife's name is Khadijah, by the way. Yep, I hear you.
See again?
His wife's name is Khadijah, but that's
Khadijah, that's right. And that's right. And his mother's name is Fatima.
Interesting. Yes, correct.
Yeah. But there's the thing. So you see that, you can tell which conspiracy. It was before my flat earth days, this stuff. You know what I mean? You can imagine. But it was nothing to do with it's because I was interested. I see documentaries, they mention books.
Yeah.
Actually, the book, The Sealed Nectar, was recommended by a young Muslim friend.
Yeah.
This is going to be, I'm going to have to monologue for 2 minutes to that, because it's the most interesting story.
Yeah.
So we used to discuss religion, right? And then we get quite passionate. He's only a young guy. He was like 22. This is only about 5 years ago. Jamal, really nice dude, really young, liked to smoke. But anyway.
Yeah.
And so he recommended this book. He said, read this. So I did. And that's what I'm saying. I was like, wow. So I'd said, have you read this? He goes, yeah, I've read it. I said, He said, have you changed your mind? I was like, no, I haven't changed my mind.
Yeah.
And so the point is, he went away to study in Copenhagen. He comes back. I gets a phone call. Can I come and visit? I said, yeah, sound. Comes back about 9 months later. We're sat, and he's telling me this story. He said, Alan, he says, do you know what? he says, I nearly ended up in down in Iraq on a suicide mission.
Whoa.
I said, how that happened? He said, what it was, he was at university, and they've actually got people in the university there that are recruiting young Muslim boys, man. This is in Copenhagen.
Yeah.
This is from the guy's mouth, man. So him and his mate got involved in it, and he said he was in it for months. Yeah. And he said he stopped. He said, I just stopped going. I said, what'd you stop going for? He said, because they started saying things against what my father had told me what being a Muslim was.
Yeah.
But his mate didn't, right? And he ended up dead, but he ended up going off to fight, and I think he got killed, sorry. And his parents found out from the imam in the mosque. It was said in the prayers. That's when they first found out. Imagine that, to find out your child had died in church, nobody else. They waited to the imam and say, oh, by the way, your son's dead.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh yeah, Allah, wait, you know, he's a martyr.
Yeah.
But my mate, when he was telling me this story, I was like, oh my God. Now the thing is, if I know that, right, and we've got secret services that are meant to be ultimate spies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that they don't know that this is going on.
Correct.
And they're not allowing this to happen, Shirak.
Yeah.
That's how deep this is. And if you try and talk to a baller or a normal person about this, you get the same reaction with the flat earth. Anyway, I took over there a bit, but it was it's just crazy for me, even somebody who pushes this religion and God, that there's so many, like, it's like there's a movie inside of a movie inside of a movie inside of a movie, and it's just crazy, all the layers of storylines, you know, that are out there. And a lot of them are evil, pulling people into things that will lead to them doing stupid things. You can see the bigger picture. You can see the implications of this. Even that story I told you, you can see the bigger implications of what that is. You know, what's going on, and you know.
Yo, AB, I got another question for you, man. Again, I don't want to keep you, but I just want to pick your brain.
No, fire away. I'm not tired yet. So, I'm off tomorrow.
Okay. I mean, people like, you know, you, me, Mies, and others, like we talk very openly. You know, I don't get any prize if I'm right or wrong or whatever. So I'm just curious about your thoughts on some of the things that I share. I know you mentioned once that I don't even know if it was on this panel, like, you know, you believe UFOs are like, you know, government-based flying devices and all that. But just what is your general vibe, you know, with, you know, what I share? You know, you can be brutally honest what you think, you know, it's wrong or whatever. Like, just as somebody that I value their opinion, what are your general thoughts on the Bible?
Well, my general thoughts is I love listening to you. As I said, you know, that I love listening to you when you're talking about the Bible, when you're quoting it. Because I've read the Bible, and I do. You know, it's nice to hear someone give another opinion, another way to look at it. And as I say, God's not written off for me, mate. There's more of it. I swear it. There's. If I was going to bet my life on whether the Big Bang or God, I would take God every time, man. I seriously would. And you know, I'm not a church goer. I try to live by God's rules. You know, don't cheat, don't steal, don't murder, don't, you know, in any way that I can help someone, you know, benefit, or, you know, if someone drops something, if someone falls over, I'll zoom over it. It's just like a natural.
Yeah.
That's probably my father's influence.
The 11th commandment should be raise, do not curve. You know, thou shalt not curve light rays. Right? And go teach it. But sorry to interrupt, man. No, I agree.
Right. Hey, by the way, stop. I have to remember that. I need to write this down. But thou shalt not curve. I'm having a hangout tomorrow night with Chris, and I said to Chris, I said, we'll need to find a name, because we usually think funny names, a little in joke or whatever. Yeah. But that's what we're going to, in your honour, Chirac, the hangout's going to be, it's going to have flat earth, ... thou shalt not curve. I swear it.
But just a little bit that I've talked to you over this time, man, it doesn't surprise me that you don't like church and stuff, because I used to be in church and I got away from it because you're into like, human psychology, science and all that. The church is not necessarily just evil. They're just really stupid. That's what I don't like.
I'm spiritual though. I'm spiritual.
Yeah,
I do. I really am. That's what I'm saying. That's why I can't say there's not a God. I can't.
Yeah.
Because of the fact of there's feelings that, there's certain feelings that you get that you can't explain or whatever. My sciencey head can't explain. I think I'm in the balance of the two, if there's such a thing as a yin and yang. I'm not too sciencey. I'm more spiritual, but I've got the science side to balance me.
Yeah.
But I'm as I say, I'm a God believer rather than a thinking that science knows what's going on.
Yeah, I agree.
Out of the two stories, that's the best. And to even think about it, it's not that hard a concept. They always say, "Oh well, where does God kind of live or whatever?" But or how can he exist? If that philosophical argument, I'm like, God, if God's not philosophy, a human being could never even like truly understand the conception of this being that created everything and let us or whatever. That we couldn't even. I think to meet that person, it'd be mind blowing.
Yeah.
You would become him, kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean? Because then, because he would enter into you, because whatever, you couldn't else, whatever. I don't know how to describe it. It's undescribable.
It's too complex, man. Like just thinking that we're one data point in an infinite bucket is overwhelming. That's just like thinking of a dot in a infinite bucket. That's overwhelming for me, much less unpacking that. It's dude, I think about that more and more now these days. Just first off, how does somebody think of this? And then the consciousness and awareness, whatever people call it, the soul, I guess, or I call it like our mind, our sovereignty. I think our mind and our sovereignty are essentially the same thing. And as free as our mind is as free as we can be to explore God, and flat earth has been a good way to open that, for me personally. But how does somebody do that? That's just from a almost scientific perspective. How does somebody do that? That's incredible. And then the why question, I don't think anybody can really understand. I can read from the Bible 24 hours a day, but it won't give an answer to that because it's too brilliant. It has to be. But
that's it. Our minds are not, as I say, he'll let you know, and when he lets you know, how could you think about this, Shilak, right?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that you truly met this super. What's life going to be like after that? It's going to be so insignificant.
Yes, correct.
There's a phenomenon. Actually, it's a syndrome, right? Mm-hmm. And it's called, and it was specifically for this. It's bigger view syndrome. And do you know who it's for? Astronauts.
Yeah, agreed. I would say that. Yeah, agreed.
Because what happens, right? I do believe they go up there, right? Mm-hmm. I up to a certain height, that. Okay. The moon and the sun are very, very local.
Yes,
they are very, very local, and they are the same size. And I don't care what anybody says. I've actually got a theory. I've actually got a theory now. I've got a theory on eclipses. Oh, bingo, man! And I've actually got. I've almost got a great argument, and it's quite mind blowing, but it doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that these people go that when you go that far up, right? And I'm not saying they go thousands, millions, and or whatever, but when you go that far up and you actually look down upon where you're from, because remember, you've got the experience, you can, or whatever you can see. Yeah, actually, you can actually see the size of the land, and you can imagine yourself down there. And you actually have that. It's quite traumatic the first time when you come back down, because it's quite traumatizing. Actually, that that feeling of there's a great. They could go up there and think they could become believe in God.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't all talk like atheists, and they never really talk about religion, right?
Yeah.
You never really hear astronauts talking about God or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
Because if they did believe in God, that wouldn't fit in with the narrative then, would it?
Yeah.
Because people look up to astronauts.
They wouldn't
that
lie.
authority, well, they've put in their heads that, people of authority have some importance.
Yeah.
So if an astronaut came back down and says, hey, by the way, it has to be, this place has to be created. People are going to listen to that person.
Yeah.
Well, they are, aren't they? More than if I went up and came back down, or if I said, hey, by the way, God exists now. But, who am I? I'm a nobody.
Yeah.
But someone that's been up there, looked down on this planet and been able to express how they felt and the sight, and it has to be. Look, guys, it has to be created, man.
Yeah. No, I would say I agree. Like that vantage point. What's interesting? Like, imagine somebody doing that, and then they see their old surroundings. That they used to walk around when they're out in that. Even people who've had like out of body experiences, whether through drugs or spiritual stuff, that also is kind of overwhelming, because then now we get to see our own body from a different vantage point, like outside. And so those kind of things, to me, I feel like God would need to almost limit those, because they would just literally be overwhelming. And so, yeah, man, that's.
Yeah. I could agree. I could actually agree with that. And I could sync it up with a function of our brain, because sometimes we protect. These are things that he's given to us. He's put these, they're like triggers. They're just like, there you go, that's that. Everybody, it's like, it's been like a blanket coverage of protective things to protect us. Yeah. And that's only a kind and caring person that wants to protect people. So obviously the personality that some of these things that are written in the Bible about God demanding this and demanding that and all that doesn't fit with that at all. So he's not got a split personality or anything like that. But these are the things people jump on, and that's why I believe that stuff. That's why with the churches as well, I never bothered, because even before all this drama or whatever, I used to be hard on Christians. When I was about 18, I went through my God doesn't exist and Jehovah's Witnesses, but now I invite them in. But as I think I talked to you before, but just to get my conspiracy stuff, I showed them a video I did about Satan, because I described the evil that's controlling the world as Satan. You have to speak. If someone's religious, why say evil? Mention the guy's name. He understands. It's like, certain words mean certain things in science. Yeah. Well, if you want to, it's like, speak the guy's language. If you don't feel bad about saying Satan, because you say Satan doesn't mean that you believe in Satan. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just a word. It's a word that guy understands. It describes this person. Yeah. So I'm quite comfortable talking about God and Satan. And well, I'm not happy talking about Satan, but because I believe that was a made up entity. That I don't think he was actually. I think that was a kind of a made up by man kind of thing. This guilt. We seem to feel guilty about stuff, or try to be made feel guilty about things through a lot of religious passages in all religions, kind of thing, and it's enforced through education, media. It's like we are bombarded on hating ourselves, self-hate. We've got indoctrinated self-hate. We don't. We're meant to feel arrogant if we feel good about ourselves. Oh, that was a great shot, wasn't it, Alan? Yeah, that was a good one, Chirac.
That's true.
On, mate. Yeah. Feeling good about ourselves, and it's not arrogant. I believe the word arrogant was made up by insecure people. Yeah. Because they couldn't handle someone being confident and think, of course I'm okay, man. Look, I'm special. Of course I'm my creation. Look, I was born or whatever. Yeah. But we're not taught that as a child. Yeah. Oh, don't do that. Shh. You have to do this. A child has to do that and behave that way. My goodness.
It's funny, Ali, we're only allowed to compliment our government. We're not allowed to give ourselves. Yeah.
Got it, man. Exactly.
That's mad funny. I totally agree with that. And if I look back on my life, that's what I would actually say is happening. It's like, I can only compliment, you know, my teachers, other smart people, other good looking girl, you know, like people of quote value or people above me in the power structures. But I was never allowed to say like, you know, me awkward kid, you know, or whatever, that I have some value. And again, I'm not trying to get pity. This is what we all go through.
No need to give that excuse, Chirac. Just blab it out, mate. There's no need to, you know, say, I'm sorry.
I agree with what you said, because I think the fundamental principles of this earth are completely inverted. And it's the same story with that thing about even Muhammad to some extent, and even that reporter asking Trump what he should do to raise his own kids. It's like we're not actually feel like we have the license to value our own, you know, opinion,
exactly,
all that kind of stuff. But shoot, I was going to ask you something else. One thing I want to say, since this is kind of just, you know, us talking freely, this is I'm not trying to change your opinion or give you any kind of.
Yeah, I know that. They are giving excuses. They are giving excuses again.
This is what I would say from the Bible, from the highest level, that, you know, somebody like you would be able to appreciate and not be offended. Oh, you're going against the Bible, and start complaining, you know, and all that. So this is what I think from reading the Bible and just being, you know, hopefully spiritual and all that, is I think this time is actually God needs to show us evil, and then also create an environment where we are forced to ask certain questions and then elevate ourselves. So he doesn't want to give us things. He wants to be able to feel like we're being guided back towards him, towards, you know, questions and learning and all that kind of stuff. And so the interaction of the serpent, you know, in the garden, you know, that in Genesis and all that, God knew that this was going to happen. You know, like he knew that there was going to be sin. He was going to introduce sin into the world. And so I do believe there is an excessive amount of guilt in Christian circles. And I felt this personally in my own life, that, oh, it's like, you know, look at all the stuff that I've done wrong and all that. And again, I'm not trying to get people to excuse themselves for things that you do directly evil towards other people. Don't do that. But God knew that this world is going to be sinful from the beginning. And then so we have to see this. We have to go up against the rumpuses. We have to see these people argue against us, make fun of us, ridicule us for wanting truth, but we have to persevere, you know, and find other like-minded people. And this is the part that's outside of the Bible that I think of being an engineer, you know, and being a cool mathy person, but also somebody like Ali, who's like creative and open-minded, may think of things this way. This is an analogy I use to describe God, is that if we think of God as an access to like all thought, you know, all new ideas, hey, I have this idea. Can I do this? Can you make this appear? And all that, that's what God represents. He can do all those things. He can create things and make things just when he says it. And so we can then have access to that, you know, and Jesus says through him, you know, we have access to the Most High. And so that's what I believe from a high level we're being groomed for, is access to infinite power, you know, and infinite creativity, infinite curiosity, infinite exploration, and all that kind of stuff. And then I do also believe in reincarnation. And I meant to ask you about this as well. We were going to talk about this, is that the Bible supports reincarnation, I believe, more explicitly now in the times that I've kind of gone through it. And then so we've gone through conditionings, you know, like people, I feel like, especially in the times that we live in now through the internet, we're reconnecting with people that I possibly, like me, Ali, maybe even me, other people that come by here, we've known in the past, you know, and so we're now reconnecting now through the internet, you know, and YouTube and all that, flat earth. But so we're all the people that are drawn to this kind of thinking, you know, truth, curiosity, science, real science, you know, compassion and all those kind of good principles. We're being reunited now, you know, and then for something that's bigger, that, you know, I just think of that as a access to God's power, and it can only be accessed with people with their heart in the right place. And then that's the conditioning that's happening. And so that's, for me, from the Bible, from the highest level, that's what I think is going on. I obviously could be wrong. The Bible could be wrong, but that's the way I think of it. So I just throw that out there as something.
Well, I'll wait to comment about that then.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's good, because I'll go with that. But that thing about saying God putting us, well, that's he's trying to awaken the people. And you're exactly right. We have to go through. Well, we don't have to go through because we're already awakened, right? We're waiting for the rest of the people just to catch up. Mm-hmm. And that the reincarnation doesn't necessarily mean that our mind, our personalities come back. It's an overall reincarnation of that awakening where the world changes, the mentality of it. It might not be ours. It'll maybe in the future be our children, our children's children, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact is, it's not a physical or a spiritual, a personal spiritual thing. It's you know how, for example, we're all one consciousness, right? I'm not saying I believe that or whatever, but there's the analogy, right? We're all connected, right?
Okay.
So we have got the evil and the good. We're connected to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's winning the battle at the moment. But the reincarnation could be the whole consciousness. That means everybody awakening to the fact that what you're talking about, that we can go adventuring, that we can look,
Mm-hmm.
that there is, that awakens people to the fact that this place has been created or whatever.
Yeah.
But that we have got to go through it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think people are going to wake up, and that's why they're shutting down rather quick. They're beginning to panic, because they had a thing called Agenda 21,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the Agenda 21 was to get all the information of how much electricity you were using, basically, and
Mm-hmm.
water, given to the government. The government was going to give it to the United Nations in 2021, and they
Mm-hmm.
were going to study it, and
Yeah.
then they were going to formulate a plan, and they were going to bring it out in 2025.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay, so, and then you would be given, for example, you would be given a water allowance, an electricity allowance.
Oh my God.
Oh, seriously? Hey, by the way, this is serious.
That just sounds like
but you know, it's laughing. Exactly, it is laughable. I know it is. I laughed as well, man. And what you were saying, it's genius.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as much as we like to say, the plan that they have got us in is when you look into the web. You know, I've only found a few leads, maybe, but I've got an idea of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is, so in 2025, that's what they were going to do. But
Mm-hmm.
now the name of their plan is 2030. And when I heard that 2 years ago, I went, yes. I said, there's something happening, because the fact is, they had to change it.
Yeah.
Meaning they set back the plan, so something was happening. And this is what this is about, this awakening. So they've upped everything. They've upped the stakes, man. The brainwashing society, you should say. You know, this song kind of sums up for me. There's this, I can't remember the artist, but it's basically all she sings in it. I want to eat a woman's vagina. I'm not going to say the thing, and smoke weed all day.
Yeah. That's probably a rap.
That's all she wants to do. And I was like, and she looked about 21 or something, and I was thinking more of the audience that she was putting, because that wasn't adult, she was putting herself. Well, you know, a few pervies.
Yeah.
I was thinking, my God, that's going to like 12, 13-year-old kids.
Yeah.
No, not my daughter, because I taught her about boy bands when she was into boy bands and stuff like that. I said, oh, I bet they've all got the personalities.
Mm-hmm.
And I never spoiled it for her. I'd buy her posters, and I even paid for she went to a concert with her mother
Mm-hmm.
to see, was it One Direction or something like that? You know, this boy band.
Yeah.
They came to Denmark or some band, and I paid for that. But she knew that kind of thing. But I was like, I just summed up seeing that only last year, seeing that video, just summed up society, how it's going downhill, man.
Yes.
It's like going into it's going back to the Roman times, but it's unreal, man. You know, it's unreal. And then they're trying to turn guys into women.
Yes.
You know, and do you know they've got? Oh, listen to this. I was almost shocked when I heard this, man.
Mm-hmm.
I read this plan. It was this. It was off a LGBTQXY or whatever. But what they're starting, listen to this, Roy. This is crazy. This is a paper written, and it's called Regenderization Program, right? And it's what happens is, if your 5-year-old kid comes up to you and says, "Mummy, I want to be a girl," they've got a program that they're promoting this program in these different steps. What will happen when they're 5 is they'll be told, this is how they'll be told it's okay. You know, we're perfectly free to feel what your sexual, a 5-year-old, right? Perfectly free. So they take them and they do that for 3 years.
Wow.
Right. And then at the age of 8 or 9, they start giving them what do you call it? Retarders. What's that when you adolescence retarders? You know, that change in hormones.
Okay.
Right. At 8-year-old, man, at 8-year-old, yes, at 8-year-old, to get them ready for when I think it's 12, and then another thing happens, and then and through all that time they're getting psychologically analysed, man. They've got a psychologist from 5-year-old, man, all the way through. This is crazy, man. This is crazy. No, and I've nothing against people. You know, as I say, God did say, "Go forth and multiply."
Yeah.
Well, there's only one way that's going to happen: male and female, right? So that's what God said, and that's what I'll go with. That's what I was put here on this planet for, was to go forth and multiply and spread my genes. That's my job here. And plus, in the meantime, be a good person.
Yeah.
And you will be rewarded when you pass away or whatever, right? And that's fine. That's it. That's what I live by. But this now, it's getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
And as I say, society's plummeting me, and it has been for years. I'm 52 years old. I can remember when the worst word on the television you would hear was bastard.
Yeah.
And all that meant was an unmarried a child from an unmarried family.
Yeah.
That's all it means in the language, the English language. That's what it means. Just a child out of wedlock. That's it. Not a horrible person or whatever. He just happened to be born out of wedlock. And that was the worst word.
Ali, I remember I made a comment to my sister, like, "Oh, you're hot for this other guy," and my dad yelled at me. You know, and this was like, you know, now if you say that, like, no one will even pay attention to you, like, whatever, like, stupid joke. But like, you know,
but it's a big sign though. If you look at the bigger picture of it, right? Yeah. But I'm still young. I still feel as if I'm 18, Chirac. I'll still go climbing trees. I'll still go running. So I'm full of life, mate. Full of energy. And I will be to the day I die.
Yeah.
But whatever, because of my attitude. But the point is, so I'm not a fuddy-duddy or whatever. I'm just making a comment. I'm not grumpy. I'm just making a comment that the society has taken. I could make a full documented 3-hour video about it, showing clips and explaining the psychology and look what's happened. And by the end of it, but I just couldn't be bothered because I'm not that bothered about it. I've told my kids about it. The only people I can tell is the people closest and point it out to me. And show them little things where let them a little bit of the Socratic method and let them think for themselves. Yeah. Well, what do you think about this? And not looking for an answer, just looking for, not trying to lead anybody. Make sure it's their conclusion, not your, that Socratic method. That's why I don't like the Socratic method, is because you're leading someone down a way, and the way that you're leading them is your bias towards that. Yeah. You know what I mean? That kind of, because that's why you think, sorry. Yeah.
No, sorry, I just sort of interrupt, but I would say, you don't have to do it publicly with me, but if, even privately, if I ever post something, this is why I look for feedback from people that I value their opinion. I would say when I hear you say that, I've extrapolated too much in my life on wrong things. Like in math, there's a term called a kernel, which represents like a core or like a matrix or something. And I've been burned by this in the past. This is why hopefully I convey this in my videos, that I am very self-conscious about what I share, because I don't want to, quote, extrapolate too far, and certainly not on religious topics, because I've been wrong on many, many things in the past. So for all of us, the right way is to accept feedback from obviously intelligent people and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's wise. When Ali's talking about just be fruitful, multiply, be a kind person, and all these basic core principles that he will not change throughout his entire life, and sticking to those, I would have done better. I'm just speaking to my own life, doing that, and just keeping that as the core and then not stepping out too far. So, but again, I feel compelled to share, the things from the Bible that I do, and I do it sincerely. But I would say that that's good advice. And I would say that this society requires you to extrapolate on nonsense. Like just go full out Instagram, go full out in all these different directions. And, you know, we see these flat earth, ball earth debates. It's the same thing, you know, turn education into just a circus. So, yeah, man, I wish I learned some of these principles from the beginning. I wish I learned.
Well, man, I've got to stop you now, and I've done this before, right? And it's all about this. What I talked about, we just talked about 5 minutes ago, this self-worth or self-hate that we get indoctrinated to.
Yeah.
The point in Chirac, what you've got to remember is, right? You're the person you are today because of who you were in the past, right?
Yeah, fair enough.
Now, you're not the same person as you were in the past, and you've probably done loads of stuff that you thought was shitty in the past. You're not the same person that done that shitty stuff.
Yeah, true.
Are you? Right,
No.
but they have made you who you are today. If you hadn't have done them, you'd have probably been a different person.
Correct.
And so if you're a good person today, all those things, you have to forgive them. They weren't you. They were you, but they weren't you, because obviously you wouldn't have done them now if you were that age. If you knew what you knew now and you were that age, you wouldn't have done them. So there's a thing about, you know, there's a thing that everybody has to go through, and that's about forgiving themselves.
Yeah.
And once you forgive yourself, I swear it sounds so flippant, man. Once you've forgiven yourself and all your sins of your past, but are truly a different, that person, when you think about doing that, is a different person. Well, that's not you then. So you can't have a go at that person, right? Because it's made you what you are today. You don't condone its acts.
Yeah.
Or that person's acts. You don't condone it. But you've learned from it, and you should actually celebrate the fact that you're not that person.
Agreed.
Understand, you know, and forgive yourself. But I'm not talking to you specifically. I'm talking as overall anybody that's listening.
No, I get it.
Because that's what's hurting in the world now, is what we talked about.
Correct.
That's where the proof sale. I could make a 3-hour video about how we're indoctrinated to hate ourselves, man, from the day we're born, man.
Yes.
You know, it's like it's there first, but I think the first step is just, you know, every time you feel yourself saying, look, I don't mean to be cheeky, but just say what you're going to say.
Yeah.
If you're going to say something, you shouldn't ask for forgiveness. You know, excuse me, this might hurt you. You're already pre-priming the person.
Yeah.
You know, to already expect something rather than just saying it and then giving a true answer, you know, kind of thing. But these are things that I still fail in, you know, and that's why I know that the best, because I've done it both ways, but I'm higher on the doing it wrong scale than I am doing it the right scale. But I know the right way, and it gets frustrating that you don't do it right. But you have to forgive you. You know, we're not perfect, and you just eventually it becomes a habit. You have to have faith in yourself and the person you are. It's going to become a habit, and it'll free yourself. And you know, I feel as free with my philosophy that I'm telling you, that I go through life as I could possibly. I don't feel totally free, you know. You're never going to feel that, but I feel as free, a lot freer than a lot of people that I know. Like the majority of people that I know, I feel a lot freer. So that's all I can say.
I don't know you that well, and I would agree, but I would say, just so you know, and I know you're saying this for the general audience, whoever comes by these videos, that's why we share these things. It's just, don't make kind of the same maybe mistakes that I've done. So I definitely don't really beat myself up. I would say, you know, I could be better at that. So I definitely hear your point. I think that it's more just for learning for really other people. And it's just more an optimization, just so they don't go through the same kind of, make the mistakes, especially like younger people who may ever come across this kind of stuff. But it's really, really important, because I just remember holding, you know, my identity on all these different things, you know, and they're like, to me, they're like exaggerations and caricatures and really evil. Actually, when I look back on it, it would have been better if I just stuck to a better set of core principles. But also, one thing I want to say about what Ali's getting at too is a very, very biblical teaching as well, where Jesus says, just let your yea be yea and your no be no. Once we start, and I do this sometimes, and I don't maybe even know that I'm doing it explicitly, but padding your answer with a bunch of other words is not what, you know, is right, you know, and this is why I think Jesus doesn't get enough credit for being a master in psychology as well, because he knows that, you know.
He was definitely a clever, I mean, he's been documented as existing. But I have to say that I do it the bad way most times as well, Chirac. You know, I can't get it right all the time. So it's hard. It really is hard, you know, by saying, I still hear even when I say it, I'm like, I'm not meant to stop saying that. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, it's a natural thing, and it's one of the hardest things. But as I say, it's still fun. But when you know it, now I've mentioned it, you'll realise that you're doing it, and you'll be in the same situation as me now.
you probably do it most of ballers, right? When you know that you're about to ruin their life, with the flat earth, you gotta prepare the needle, the syringe before you give them the But yeah, I mean, I think that the psychology about us as people and just our interaction, to me, is incredible. It's there's just an incredible amount of evil. I think that's the thing that is worrisome, and there are ways to isolate yourself from that, which I think is a good idea. But the entity that made this whole thing, just by what we're experiencing, has to be brilliant. We're living in a movie, and the way I describe it is it has no edges. It has no discontinuities. When we have conversations, it feels smooth. Our life feels smooth. It feels continuous. And it feels like there's a purpose, what Ali's getting at. All the things we did, whether good or evil, we don't even know which are good or evil until somebody else tells us, really, ultimately. And so it's an incredible accomplishment for that entity to do that, and I think it's never wrong to give the credit to whoever you look outside and look out. Something out there is brilliant, and it's just, man, like sometimes this is so ridiculous that I would even think this, but like kind of arrogant, but like, how does somebody come up with this? Like, yeah, I'm going to make an earth, they're going to make water, land, put people on it, some smart people, some not, the Ali and the flat earthers, the normal ones, the smart ones. And then I'm going to make the rumpus, and he's going to
think about this though. Think about this. Sorry, Chirac, but I had to, because I forget things. But think about this, Chirac, how these people have made numbers. These mathematicians have made this wonderful experience, or nature, the sun. It's like they've made it into numbers, and it's not numbers. It's like it's stupid. It's that amazing. It's I don't know sometimes. Right. Well, are you going to do your Bible thing? Because then what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign off and listen to it. So
yeah, I'm going to.
You're going to do a few lines anyway, and I'll. Because I'm getting tired now. So
that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. I may if there's not many people around, I may just save it for tomorrow, because I'm going to stream tomorrow and do the Bible lesson. I think this was good. I'm glad you stopped by.
What time you Chirac?
It's set for 8:00 my time, Central.
Oh, right, okay.
So it's kind of late, but I may do it at 7 because the weather's not really good tomorrow. So, but I'll listen to yours though if you're gonna stream it publicly. I'll check that out first.
It's just going to be a laugh and a nice wee chat, but you have to get to know Chris. We'll have a hangout together because he's a cool dude, and he's off work with the coronavirus. But I'm telling you, he's very intelligent. Funny guy, man. It is. Yeah.
I think it's good. It's almost too bad that a group of us, like me, you, people like I like Chris Berry, Meese and Seek and Find. If we kind of grouped together sooner, we probably would not have needed the other people, really at all. And
yeah, absolutely.
We could have talked freely, and even to some extent, PJ, even though I find him annoying. But I think that it's cool that that's happening. I don't think all of us at Flat Earthers are becoming dependent on other people, and we're all that kind of stuff. But I enjoyed those days, man. We got in there, and it was kind of
I'm going to check out. I'm going to check out that thing. I'm going to send you. In fact, I think it was called the Super Show. I'll check it out for you. And you were talking with. Oh, it was brilliant. Just it was amazing. It was so fun. I just laughed, and I was like, I need to tell Chirac. I'll need to get a link, but I forgot. I've got it written down, and I got the timestamp as well. Somewhere.
Shout out to Sean G, man. No hard feelings, buddy, if you're listening. So peace. But yeah, man, Ali, thanks for stopping by, dude. You're obviously awesome. Anytime, man. Just if you just want to whatever talk about random things. I'll be totally honest. I don't know if there's that much more I need to share. I've done my due diligence. I put that out there. It sounds outlandish to me. I don't want anybody to think that I walk around thinking this is just totally normal. Just my existence is difficult to understand, much less God existing, much less God orchestrating a narrative, much less God orchestrating a narrative in our lifetime and us potentially being part of that. That's very, very overwhelming. So I never share what I do flippantly, but I'll do a Bible study tomorrow. And I may try and do these more once in a while, Ali, so we don't have to feel pressure to talk about specific things, because people like yourself and
I might get back to reading some of the Bible again, just to come on for the chat and stuff. And it's never controversial, It's not it'd be quite good discussion. Yeah, because I do like intellectual interaction. And I have, like Mark, most of my friends are, we can talk some deep stuff like yourself. I see that in you, Mark, my mate Chris and stuff like that. Me, so I've only talked to a couple of times, but when I listen to you and him chat, is very interesting stuff, man. You guys are really intelligent people out there, man.
I just like smart people who are nice, and when I know like people like yourself, if you say something about my theology or something, I don't get offended, and all that kind of stuff. Like I want, and I mentally do this myself, I look for holes in my own doctrine, because again, I don't want to share things that are wrong, because I've done that for a long time. So man, on those Bible things, you could freely join the panel whenever you want and just fire away. I think even if the question, like you were saying earlier, we don't have to sugarcoat it. We just say whatever in these days. I think that you guys have a good nature, and
it's all cool, man. It's all cool. Yeah, I really enjoy it. Like, it's been an honor being on. Thanks very much, Chirag. There's loads of times it's like 3 o'clock in the bloody morning.
I know.
I kind of wake up, and you're usually on, and I'll just sit and I'll just lie. I'll go back to sleep, but I'll listen to you and me chat away about the Bible for whatever. If I'm awake, I'll say hi in the chat. But anyway, I'll let you go. Thanks very much.
All right, buddy. Sleep well, man. We'll talk soon. Peace out.
I'll be listening tomorrow night probably anyway. So.
Okay. All right, man.
Yeah. All right, buddy. You take it easy now, yeah? Thank you.
So, thanks again for the people who came by. Ali B, Mark Doxey, and Flat Earth Boxer. And so, everybody's kind of doing their thing, in the days that we live in now. I think that, a lot of us are just grappling with the reality, I would say now, that God exists, and which God and why us, why are we in these various truths, and all that. I enjoy discussing things with people who speak openly and, are compassionate, because then people like that, to me, anybody who's like that in the world, they're going to find God, one way or the other. That's just the way it is. However they do it, that is very, very unique to that person. But I'm confident that that's the case. And so, people like, Ali and people like Mies Kang and all that, I enjoy interacting with and all that. And so tomorrow I'm going to go through a website that, I'll publish in the description before the live stream that talks about the Antichrist, all the different verses that reference the Antichrist, and continue. That'll be my final in the trilogy of trying to persuade people to consider the fact that the Antichrist is a spirit, a mindset, a mentality that God has put out into the world to oppose truth. And that spirit was the same spirit that killed Christ, on the cross. And so that spirit can, if we allow it, enter into us, and has throughout our life. And it's a good thing for all of us to resist it in the days that we live in now, for sure, because it looks like, from what the Bible is saying, it's going to come heavy. An opposing spirit, if it's not felt already, it's only going to get worse. And so, for those spiritually inclined, those see the writing on the wall, what's happening, especially if you live here in America. We have been protected, or what we thought we'd been protected by our government, and that we're invincible. A lot of us are starting to see chinks in the armor, inconsistent stories, and fairy tales, and money being printed out of thin air promised to us, and all that kind of stuff. So it's scary, scary times. And I would say for people, we could either believe in that narrative, and become dependent on it, more dependent on it, or seek an alternative. And I would say the God of the Bible is an excellent alternative. And, he's an incredible entity. He says from beginning to end that he is orchestrating everything, absolutely everything, every conversation, all these interactions we have. God is overseeing them, and narrating them, facilitating them, planting questions in people's minds, and giving hopefully us answers, to those that he sees fit. And, I would say what I'm going to teach tomorrow, it looks like I'll probably just use the revelation, which I was going to go through today. I'll do that at the beginning as a preamble, and then I'll go through the website with the quotes, and then I'll see if people are around and want to chat, and take questions, if not from the panel or from the live chat. And that'll be it. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do next week. I may just do more of these, and maybe do little reminders to people on the Bible. I don't think I'm going to go through a full book or do any kind of breakdowns. I just feel like everything is there on my channel. I don't want to keep adding more and more videos to an already possibly bloated channel and make my channel even more difficult to navigate through. It's all there, and I would say if anybody is whatever, self-conscious or whatever, doesn't want to ask things publicly, feel free to email me. I put my email in the chat. I check it obsessively. It's on my phone, and so you don't have to. You can just ask privately, and all that. If it's any kind of sincere question or any flaws that you see in what I teach, I'm very, very open to it. I would say what I share is incredibly deeply thought out, but again, I'm not God for sure. I know that for a fact, and so I'm definitely fallible. And I definitely do not want to share things that are incorrect. That would be really bad for me and bad for people who consume it. So, feel free to ask questions. There's 2 links in the description below. One of them is a link for an 1.5-hour video of me going through the entire book of Revelation, which I believe is comprehensive. And if it ends up happening, a person who can understand that understands pretty much the entire Bible. And I don't say that to be arrogant, but in order to digest that, the entire Bible must be used as support, for those interpretations. It pulls from everything, and then I have a summarized video as well. So I would recommend people look at that. The next thing that is going to happen on earth, if the Bible is true and we're living in the end times, is the rapture, of God's elect, select group, elect group, the chosen, the government, if you want to call them that way, in the kingdom of heaven, all that, and so they are a group that are predetermined. And so that will be what kicks off the final 3.5-year period of Great Tribulation. And so that is the time when the entire world will be tested and sifted for God's right-hand side. And so that is what the Bible teaches. It's very, very specific about the time of that prophesying of 1,260 days exactly, that 2 witnesses will be standing on the streets of America somewhere prophesying. And they will be essentially the authoritative 2 people with all power. They will have all power and dominion over the earth, and they will have a checklist of things that they're going to do. And no one will be able to defeat them. Just like Christ, his ministry was, people believe, around 3 or 4 years. It's the same thing, in the end times. And the Bible says the way that Christ left is the way that it's going to be when he returns. So when he left, there were 2 people standing there looking at the disciples, telling them, what are you looking out for? That's going to happen in the end times. And so when Christ returns, there's going to be 2 witnesses standing there when he returns, and after he takes away his elect. And so it sounds far-fetched. It sounds like it's from a movie. It is, we're living in one, if the Bible's true, because the God of the Bible is the director. And so that's, I'll go into that tomorrow as the preamble, Revelation 11, 16, and 18. And then I'll go through the website, for the Antichrist. And really all those things are related too. So it's a good thing to kind of push those 2 things together. And so, going forward, we'll see what I'll do after that on a weekly basis. But thanks for everybody for stopping by. And Hope everyone's doing well. Take care. Bye.